She did it.
Just like Nike. Just do it.
She did it. Hi, people.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Right now, it's just the three of us, so.
No, I just got a notification that Ma Pal went live.
I haven't gotten the notification yet, so you're not live yet. Doesn't count. I'll get the notification that you went live. Oh, there it is. I was going to say, I'll probably get it at 3 o'clock in the morning like I do everything else.
Right.
Oh, this morning I got notifications for things that went live at 10 o'clock last night, and I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, that happened. Or I'll get one that says live in 30 minutes, and 2 seconds later it pops up and says live, and then when you actually go in, it's been going for like 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, YouTube's awesome.
There you go. She's pinned.
There's Amy. Hi, honey.
What's up, fat ass?
Woohoo! It's our ninja.
There are a crap ton of auctions going on right now, though, aren't there?
Yeah, let's see. Who we got? Well, we got Gary and Tom Cruise are going right now. So you know that's a big draw.
Yeah, they got 96 people in there. 168 are in conkies.
Cha-cha.
19. And Jewelry Nurse has 55 in hers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was hanging out when I was just lurking when I got the doohickey on Facebook that this was going to happen. Well, I was doing a breathing treatment at the time, and while I was doing the breathing treatment, Sis came in with groceries, and I didn't hear her come in. So when I went in the kitchen, you know, bags all over. So I got that stuff put away and everything. Then I came and to see if anybody was in the back room.
Nope. Do you need to come rant? No, I just bored, honey. But if you need to rant, you're welcome to.
Feel free. I love a good hotness rant.
Yep, they are pretty awesome.
Let's see. Other than the Harry Potter marathon that's going on Sci-Fi Channel.
Nice.
Yeah, I got those on DVD.
See, I don't own them on DVD.
I have some on DVD. I don't have all of them.
Third set on DVD because I've worn out several sets.
I used to have some of them on VHS back in the day.
Yeah, I had a bunch of them on VHS. Hey, Celestine. I do not have all of the Harry Potters on DVD. I have some of them, not all of them.
Although I love Fantastic Beasts.
I've got those and got the books.
I had the books somewhere.
Here's the catchy thing. I could not get into the books. I started falling asleep while reading them.
Really?
Well, the books is where I started. I didn't know there was movies when I just randomly picked up the first of the books at the thrift store for
Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah. I didn't know there was movies until I went to the bookstore to get the second one, and they said that, you know, like the fourth or fifth, you know, book was out, and the third movie was coming out. Like
I had to fight with my mother to let my daughter read the books, because my daughter brought one of the books home, and like a friend had lent it to her, and when my mom kind of read a little bit into it and realized it had to do with witches and all that, my mom started freaking out. I was like, look, I said, if it gets her to read, let her freaking read it. You know, I was like, it's fantasy, Mom. It's not meant to be an instructional booklet. Come on. It took me 3 weeks to get her my mom to let my daughter read the rest of the books as they came out, and my daughter was absolutely fascinated, my older daughter, and she read those books voraciously, and I read them with her. Like, I read them at the same time, you know, and so that's when the books first came out. So I had started reading the series before they made the movies, and I was a little disappointed in the movies because they skipped over so many
They do.
small
It's-
details, just small details that make the hugest difference in the context, you know?
They do.
But
Yeah, I didn't care for the director in oh god, which one was it?
mm,
5, I think.
I don't know.
3 was. I think it was
You know,
3. I think it was 3.
and I was
And
so sad when the original Dumbledore died. I was so sad because I liked him a little better
yeah,
than when they had replaced him. I was so sad when he died.
Yeah.
I also think that they should have split book 4 like they did book 7.
Mm,
You know, into 2 movies.
yeah.
Okay,
I think they dragged out the Hollows. They dragged out the Deathly Hollows too much. The book dragged it out. Her entire way of writing changed a bit with the last book, and I was like, "What the hell is happening here? Why is this dragging so long?" Because usually her books, I mean, they had funny, they had serious, they had magic, of course, but they were like bang, 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 bang. It was constantly moving, and then that last book just dragged, and I'm like, "What the fuck is happening here?" So I don't know if she was trying to draw out the last of her series or what, but come on. There's always more you can add to a series, you know?
I think her writing style changed because her life had changed.
But yeah, but it changed way before she was started writing the last book. I mean, that changed after the first book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in the meantime, you know.
So,
Hotness.
what's up, badass?
Hey, y'all. I'm so tired.
Well, they've done the Fantastic Beast ones, Celestine.
Yeah, they've done
Do I
2
think
of
the
those.
original cast is going to come back? No, they've moved on.
Yeah. But I mean, they could have done branch off characters. You know, they could have followed Neville afterwards. They could have followed Harry afterwards with his whole thing as an Auror. You know, I mean, come on, how cool would that be? You know, they
Well, him
could
and
have followed
Hermione.
his kids. Yeah, they could have followed
Oh
Harry.
yeah, I don't know
Harry
anything
and
about this.
they could have followed all of their kids' stories. You know, what I mean,
yeah.
there's so much more they could have done with the books. I mean, hey Patrick.
Yeah, she did.
I
the
can
books
say
and
that
then
I
she
like
jumped
Harry
back and
Potter
did stuff.
over what was it that you had me watching? Lord of the Rings. No, is that
Hey,
right?
Patrick.
Yeah. I liked Harry Potter over Lord of the Rings. Because Lord of the Rings, the way they talk, I'm just like, huh? It takes me 20 minutes to figure out what they're saying, and then by then they're onto something else, and I'm so lost.
Okay, Lord of the Rings, it's so much better to read the books than it is the movies, although the movies, they cut so much out from the books. Because it's like just like with the Harry Potter movies, they had to cut so much out from the books in order to make the movies watchable. Because I mean, come on, the Lord of the Rings movies were already 3+ hours long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can't sit still that long.
So, and believe me, I marathoned those suckers all in one day.
A lot of
Yeah,
people
no,
had
thank you. I
problems with
can't
the
sit still that
accents.
long.
A lot of people had problems understanding. Well, Americans had problems understanding the accents in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
No, I did not.
But if they didn't have those accents, those movies would not have been the same. So they had to be done that way.
True. And that. But I have to read the
own
books because when they talk, it goes right over my head.
Patrick.
No, then I'm reading the movie. I might as well just read the book if I'm reading the movie.
Yeah.
Patrick, I own that on VHS along with the Return of the King.
See, I had no problem understanding the dialect or the accents, the way they talk, nothing. I was the only kid in the 9th grade that could understand Shakespeare and these, thous, those, all of that, original old-fashioned language. So
Old English.
Old English, yeah. I could understand it, and my teacher was astounded. She's like, "You understand that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Translate it," and I did, and she was like, "Oh my god." So
it's a fabulous thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's why I never needed when I was a kid. I never needed the Bible translated. And as a kid-friendly version or anything. I could read the adult version that even my parents couldn't understand. So when I was a kid, until I got kicked out of Sunday school when I was 9. Hi, Bonnie.
Hey, Bonnie.
I'm doing well. My dog is stressing out because we got fireworks going all over the place, and she's in distress right
Can
now.
you hear this in the background?
No. I get too much noise in my background.
I'll say I got firecrackers and fireworks going off here too.
Yeah.
I hear it a little
Neighbors
bit.
are so rude. Like, don't they know we're live on YouTube right now? Like, come on, people.
How rude.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
How rude!
Like, come on.
Between my dog stressing out, I mean, she's panting. She's in serious distress and shaking. Poor baby. And the fireworks going off. It's...
Yeah. The kittens wanted to come outside. They come outside. They're on the carport. Somebody lights off a firework, and I thought they were going to make their own door to get back inside because I couldn't get it open fast enough.
Yeah. Patrick wants to know how the kitten's doing with him.
She's doing awesome. She ought to be getting up here about any time.
That kitten needs to be on a better nap schedule. It needs to know when we're live. Doesn't that kitten realize we're live?
That kitten wakes up when she gets the notion. She woke up about 5 minutes after you ended your live this morning.
Wendy, what are you doing up? As I look at my invisible watch.
Wendy? Right? Hey, Darlene.
Hi, Darlene. I can't see the chat.
Just follow our
lead. You know, I wish it would just downpour rain right now so all these assholes would go inside.
Right?
They'd still figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, probably out their windows, set their house on fire. That would be fun. As long as it's their house and not mine.
I heard about somebody doing that.
You're right.
The only thing I would be concerned about the only thing I'd be concerned about is please save the dogs, because my neighbors have dogs.
Right.
So.
Did you see where a small town by Vancouver, BC, called
Lytton
roasted? I mean, the whole town burnt down.
Really?
Hey, Kristen, you've got a box.
I couldn't find a box. That's
they
all
were
right.
down below. All right.
Patrick, they started early here too.
They always do. It's inevitable.
Yep.
Yeah. And of course, another country heard from. She did make me bleed earlier, by the way. I have a big scratch on my shoulder.
They have this thing about liking to make you bleed.
They do. Bonnie, the heat everywhere has been horrible. Well, except here. We've been pretty normal here. Average 80s and 90s. About par for the course in South Carolina in June and July.
What? Girl.
Yo, global warming. But it's a myth. So, you know, nobody worry about it.
Right.
Right. You need to go.
Where's the lover caddy?
Can't deal with you and the dog.
You're sitting here waiting for me to finish marking out on the edge of my graph.
And there's your lover caddy.
I had to mark out the black that I had already done.
So are you guys ready for my rant?
Yeah, well, I've been waiting for it, Amy.
It has nothing to do with YouTube. Nothing at all, just so you know.
Oh, well, that's boring.
You know how it's actually kind of funny because if you would have heard the way I said it, just hold on, I'll get there. So we tore out the floor and we were burning like all the extra wood that was rotted and all that needed to be gone.
Right.
I was burning paneling. It's like paper because it's so old. And I put it on there. I finally get it going, and the bottom of the freaking the fire pit falls to the ground. And I was like, "Oh, fuck!" And Dad goes, "It's okay." And I'm like, "I broke it. I freaking broke it. I freaking broke it."
First nail guns.
And then he tells me that. I know, and like the fire is like on the ground, right? And I'm like, me not thinking of my words. I'm like, I'm not touching that. Like, what am I gonna do? Grab it and put it back in? Oh, it was kind of funny.
No.
I love you, Amy.
I'm
You
not
should
fucking
not,
touching that.
Amy. You should not be near anything that could possibly be destructive. Stay away from fireworks this weekend. Just saying.
I don't shoot off fireworks. I lit off some. I lit off. Listen to me. That's not even. I burnt. We had some snakes yesterday, and that's what I did. That's the extent of my fireworks.
You let off
Yeah.
the sulfur.
You really don't.
Yeah, I don't
You
even
don't
do
really
those
light
anymore. My
off.
breathing.
But you.
Premature explosion.
Well-
You can always tell because it goes bang and someone goes ah. That's what I just heard outside my window. My dog is freaking out now. She's like up my grill here. But yeah, that's what I heard was bang ah. Yep.
I have a Pepsi, so I won't be cranky. Okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
Pepsi
I
is
just
good.
figured I'd let you know.
Hey, if it keeps you from being cranky, I'm all for it.
Sometimes Pepsi doesn't work, and neither does Snickers, by the way. They don't work either.
Snickers, you just end up with a sugar rush that you don't know what to do with.
No, it's not enough
Right.
caffeine or chocolatey. That's what that boils down to.
My poor puppy.
Oh, it's a puppy.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm
This is
talking to
pretty
you. I see you looking.
Timmy, Timmy. Oh, Timmy dogs. Timmy bumpers.
Bonnie, if there is, that's on them. They shouldn't be blowing up shit in their front yard.
Exactly.
And there are kids out
Andrew
there.
lit off
So
something
there you
he
have it.
thought was a. Andrew lit off something earlier that he thought was a smoke bomb, and it wasn't. It was one of those things that like zoom in the air. I don't know what the hell those things are called.
Oh, a zinger? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh shit, what just happened?" I'm like, "That wasn't a smoke bomb." He goes, "Now you tell." Well, I didn't see what he had. Freaked him out though. You should have seen how far he jumped. He like jumped and ran.
Bonnie, I live in the neighborhood of, hey, y'all, watch this. Okay, that's my neighborhood.
Hold my beer.
Well, no, they won't give up their beer here. Mm-mm. They do all their shit one-handed. Because they're talented like that. They hold their beer in one hand, they light that shit with the other.
Oh no.
And if it blows up before they can get away from it, well then, oh well. At least I didn't drop my beer. Yeah, that's my neighborhood. My poor baby.
Mine's more like hold my beer while I'm stupid.
Yeah, this is a hold my beer neighborhood.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, we are in the same part of the I almost said county, country. Oh goodness.
Can you hear that?
Yep, I sure can. Excuse me a minute.
My dog is shaking like a fucking leaf right now.
I hear her panting all excited.
She's not excited. She's distressed.
You understand what I mean.
Yeah, it's just, she's in serious distress right now.
Poor girl.
Baby. You know she's not a cuddler, and she's like on me and not moving. So
Yeah.
sorry if her panting is bothering everybody.
No.
No. As long as your bed don't start rocking, it's all good.
No, the bed's shaking. That's how hard she's shaking. Everything is shaking.
I didn't say shaking, I said rocking.
Oh.
Yeah,
If my
yeah.
bed was rocking, I wouldn't be on camera right now.
Now you finally caught up with it.
Although I might let you listen.
No, thank
I
you.
don't wanna.
No, thank you. I'm good.
She's gonna start making what are those ASMRs or something? Heavy breathing.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, hard pass.
No thanks. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, Onyx is hiding, Monty. My black cat that purrs so loud. Last 4th of July, her and Cindy got so traumatized. Marty could give two fucks. She don't care. But Onyx and Cindy got very traumatized last 4th of July because so many people had really loud fireworks, and they were letting them off all 4 points of my house. So it literally sounded like my house was surrounded by artillery fire. It was really, really. I couldn't even hear myself talk, and the animals just flipped the fuck out. Because Simi, up until last year, Simi, now loud noises did not bother her at all. Thunderstorms still don't bother her, but fireworks or gunshots now, yeah, she freaks out. So,
Yeah. Live, what?
I want to show you a funny video.
Yeah, no. Yeah, wait till now.
yeah, no, go away.
So I was telling Abstract Possibilities that I was on with you guys, and I put Tina's name, and then your name popped up next, and I hit that, and then Willow's name popped up next, so I hit that, and I didn't actually have to type all that out. Am I really on with you guys that much that your names just pop up there when?
Yes.
Apparently so.
That's all right. I didn't have to type it all.
There you go.
Yeah, fireworks, thunderstorms. I get it, Wendy. That's what I used with my dog. You can rub it on their paws, or you can rub it, like on the inside of their ear. You can do it every 15 minutes. It doesn't knock them out. It doesn't drug them. It just mellows them. And it's good for dogs and cats. And it's all natural. All made of flower essences. It's a tree hugger product, but last I seen, you can still buy it at Walmart.
Yeah, Kristen, Simi didn't either. The thunderstorms still don't bother her. But the fireworks now, because of the whole house being surrounded, I mean, I thought my house was going to blow up. I did. Because of last year.
Hi, Tim.
Are we taking a break from being all stressed out? Just been quiet for 5 minutes? Ow, claws on my leg. Hello. That was a damn cat.
I can hear them. Amy's neighborhood.
Hey, Tim.
What about my neighborhood?
I said, I'm pretty sure I can hear them in your neighborhood now.
Oh my gosh, I think everybody around me, like I can't see them, so it's like I don't really know what direction.
Sounds like cannon fodder.
Earlier, when we were on this morning, well, when I was on with Cody, I don't think you were on yet. I had muted myself because there's a guy. I'm not actually sure how to explain it, but there's a guy that lives close by, and I swear he shoots off a cannon.
Drive-by boobies?
We've had a drive-by boobying.
We always get
drive-by boobies. Or should that be the booby drove by?
We get those from Kevin.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like any of us need anymore.
One can never have enough boobies in their life.
Kristen, those are called
I was
moves.
gonna say, I could use a little, like, I don't know how to word this. I could use a little extra because mine doesn't even hold up the shirt, so I have to be careful what kind of clothes I wear. And I'm not stuffing my bra.
You can never have enough boobs in your life. Just saying.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
Well, if they're not
mine
mine,
for 50 years and see what you think. Trust me.
if they're not mine, that could be somebody else's. That's fine.
I didn't say they had to be yours. I just said you can never have enough boobs in your life.
Exactly.
And I'm saying that if you had to live with mine and what they did to my back and everything and stuff, you wouldn't be saying that.
I'm not saying on you. I'm not saying making yours bigger. Relax. Calm down. It's not always about your tits, Willow. Jeez. Juggle them things somewhere else, all right? I was saying in general.
That's enough. No arguing.
I wasn't arguing. I was saying in general.
Say hi.
Oh, it's me.
Hi.
Hold on, she can't hear you yet.
Hold on.
I was saying that so you didn't say anything that she shouldn't hear. Okay,
Yeah,
no.
that was your little
Hello.
pictures warning.
It was all
Hello.
That's
Hi.
Tina. You know Cody, and do you remember Willow?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I never seen her before. Hi. I know you can't see
Hi.
me, but I'm waving.
Yeah,
We do that
she's
too.
doing. We all do it.
It's like your camera's off and you just wave out of nowhere.
I do. I'm like, bye guys, and I'm like, oh, you can't even see
Yeah.
me.
Oh
Okay,
wow, beautiful ladies.
tell them bye now.
Bye bye. I'm leaving.
Bye.
I need my Coke. Well, I can't
Okay,
see it.
get your drink and
I took the wrapper off of it
okay,
and then I ate it.
scooch it.
I didn't eat it. I just put it.
Don't eat the wrapper. Just scoot it. Gosh, child.
Oh, geez, Patrick, not sports.
Yeah, no
You know,
sports, Patrick. Tim, you're gonna give yourself a cramp. What are you doing?
Waving.
Wait a minute, Amy's youngins.
Did
This
you hear
is
what she
Tina.
said?
This is Tina. This is Tim's hand.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they know who Tim is. When we were camping, I had called him when we got there,
Yeah.
or shortly after we got there. And they're like, "Who is it? Who is it?" Oh, I know who that is. I'm like, "Who is it? That's Tim." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't know
Never
they
underestimate.
knew. I didn't know they knew who he was.
Never
I had no
underestimate.
idea.
You've
But then
already
when I
learned that your
say-
kids. You've already learned that your kids know more than you thought they did. Okay.
Oh,
Right.
we don't want to go there. But yes, that's true. So I told them yesterday when we picked them
Good
up,
night, Wendy.
I told them, I'm like, you're going to be able to meet Victoria. And they're like, who's that? And I'm like, Victor Ronica. And they're like, oh, okay. They don't know her as Victoria.
I wonder why.
Because I called her Victor Ronica for like the first year and a half that I knew her.
Right?
Because I couldn't remember if her name was Victoria or Veronica. So Victor
Yes.
Ronica it is.
Right.
Veronica is her naughty side. So she's both.
Well, and in the morning, she's Victoria on part of the show, and she's Veronica, so she's Victor Ronica.
That's right, because she's not all sweet and innocent anymore on her morning show.
No, we whooped her ass.
Definitely
I don't know
corrupted
who
that
was
girl.
more excited when I told her that I was going to let her meet the kids, or that I told the kids that they were going to meet her. I don't know which
Oh,
one
yeah.
was more excited.
Just
Because
don't let her
they don't
tackle.
get to meet people.
Just don't let her tackle hug the kids. She'll squish them and they'll all land on the ground. I saw that hug she gave Robin. Kids can't stand up to that kind of thing. She gets so excited.
I don't
She's
know.
so
They're
cute.
bigger than she is. So they might knock her over.
No, that's true too.
It's hilarious.
As long as she doesn't knock me over, we're good. Like, they're kids.
She might.
They'll get over it. I know.
That
I'm like, do
whole-
I need to be sitting down when you come to me? That way you don't knock me on my ass. 'Cause
Right?
have a
She'd
feeling.
probably still do it.
I have a feeling. Right. I'm so excited. I have 5 days until I leave. And then like 10 days before I actually meet her. I had to count on my fingers. I can't do math in my head.
Kristen, Wendy will be back in 10 minutes after she eats.
Right.
Wendy needs to go back to bed.
Isn't it really late for her?
Yes.
Yeah,
Or
she's
early,
like
however
6
you-
hours later than us.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, what,
Oh.
3 in the morning, something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be sleeping right now. I really would if it was that late.
She was having problems sleeping. That's why she popped in.
Can't imagine her having problems sleeping.
But it's Wendy, so she might get distracted and go eat and then be awake for a little bit and come back. You don't know with Wendy. Wendy also gets FOMO and is like, what are they talking about? I'm missing it.
Mm-hmm. That she does.
She might miss
You're
it.
one
I
of the
used to
big
be that
brothers.
way. I'm not like that so much anymore.
So the moral of the story tonight is don't let Amy near nail guns or fire pits.
What did Amy do?
You missed it.
I burnt a hole through the fire pit and it fell.
She broke the
My
fire
fire
pit,
was
Tim.
on the ground.
Yep.
I broke it.
Oh
I
my.
burnt it.
Burnt it clean through.
Luckily, we have another one though.
When you burn through your fire pit, that's special. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just
Hey,
weird,
you know,
dude.
we had some really cold winters here. Or we had a really cold winter here. That's what I meant to say the first time. And
Right.
fires a lot. Stay warm. You know, I smoke
Right.
cigarettes. I'm outside.
Right.
You know, we talked over winter time. You know,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
We're
Building
gonna
a
use.
fire? Be
We're gonna use
careful. I'm
the.
always careful.
We're gonna
Uh-huh.
use.
That's
She's
how
gonna
it
use
always
the.
goes.
She's gonna use the cold compromise the metal. You know those are made for be outside, right?
That's not what I said. I
Not
just
in
said we
our
used it so
temperatures,
much
though.
that
Let
I
me
burnt
tell
coal
you,
in it.
Mm-hmm.
not in our temperatures. They should be put away with our temperatures.
I'm staying out of this. You know, fireman's daughter. I don't even do fire pit. So.
I can't have fires here. I'm in city limits.
We can have them as
Yeah,
long
we're
as they're
not.
in a metal fire pit and they're secured.
Yeah, we have to have. We can have a fire pit, but it has to have a certain amount of like sand or rocks around it, and that would take up my whole yard, and that's not happening. So either that, or I would have. Hey, Iris, I would have to do it in the side yard, and no, so no fire pits, or I could stick it in the
Kristen,
middle of my
staple
driveway.
guns aren't good for me either.
Oh,
I
I
shit.
could.
can't use anything that shoots. Anything.
I'm gonna go make me
The
some
No
safest.
nail
food.
gun, no staple gun,
The safest place
nothing
to
like
be
that.
when Amy has anything that shoots projectiles is in front of her because it's going to go in all other directions except straight ahead. So we used to say that about Issa and a shotgun. She got a shotgun. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why would you get
Unless
somebody
I'm
that
mad.
stupid? I asked John, I said, why would you get someone that stupid a gun? And he goes, well, she'll be fine. I'm like, she's going to shoot a foot off. I'm like, the safest place to stand when she's shooting is in front of her. He started laughing his ass off. He made her get rid of
I
it
could shoot a
because
gun. Could shoot a gun in front of me, so that would not be safe because then you would get shot.
Amy, I'm
I
sorry,
mean, I
honey. I
can't
love you.
like it.
I love you, Amy. I don't even want to be in the same state as you if you're firing a gun. Okay. I do love you, but no.
I'm really cautious with those. The whole nail gun thing was not intentional at all. I didn't think
What?
it was even plugged in. And I hit the little thing and there it went.
Oop, there it is, huh?
Yeah, that's what
When I was like,
accidents are
oh, I'm
called.
so glad nobody else was in there.
That's what accidents are called, unintentional. Okay, and whoever used that nail gun last should have unplugged it.
Should have.
So
Right?
that's on them too.
But they didn't. They just laid
Right.
it down and I went to move it. And when I moved it, oh my God, that scared me. Anyway, that was a little louder than I was ready for. When I moved it, I bought the little trigger thing and there it went. I was just
Sorry,
like,
Cody.
oh. And Dad's like,
Tina,
you're gonna learn how to fix a
Snow
hole
Pete.
today.
I'll be right
Tina,
back. Snow Pete,
hurry up.
there is no hurry.
Ugh.
Dadgummit.
So there.
Oh, I know it wasn't my fault. The thing's old anyway, so I knew it was gonna
Kristen,
happen sooner or later.
Kristen, I'm only busted on her. I know they do.
Yeah, I knew you were. I don't take anything that you say to heart. I know better. Unless it's one of those little sappy, you know I love you, right? And I'm like, what'd you do? Nothing, I just love you. I'm like, oh, okay.
I do love you. You know that.
I know, but when people say, you know I love you, right? There's always but.
Oh yeah,
Usually
John
there's
used
a
to do
but
that.
after.
John used to do that to me all the time. He'd be like, "Bear, I love you." I'm like, "What do you want?" He'd be like, "Can't I just say I love you?" I said, "Yes, you can say it as many times as you want. Now, what do you want?" And then he'd tell me what he wanted.
Yeah, we had to do our burn barrels back when we was able to use them. About every 6 months to 9 months, we'd get a new one because they'd burn through. Ow.
Oh God.
Mana mana.
Boop, boop, boop,
Mana mana.
boop, boop, boop,
Mana mana.
boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop.
Dolly G, there we go. Yep, that's right. Dolly, Dolly.
Okay, calm down, Tim.
I'm tired.
Your party tit is way out of control.
I'm what?
Your party tit.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me to calm my tits once. I said I can't. One of them is a party tit and it's out of control.
Yeah.
Kristen, these people around my area buy a crap ton of explosives. I'm not even going to call them fireworks. They're just explosives. They just like to hear shit blow up. And they go for days. I'm like, stop it. Bonnie, that's why I would never let John buy them. I'm like, you know, we need food. I'm not spending money on explosives. Sorry, you're just going to have to deal with it. Sugar Tits Drive By. Yay! I love Sugar Tits.
Cheers, Kevin. Vroom, vroom.
Oh, it's Kevin. My name's Kevin. My name's Sugar Tits.
It kind of sounded like him in a way. Like the day he's like, "Hi, I'm Hot Mess and I'm a bitch," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I thought we all knew that already." Thanks.
My name's Kevin. I'm kind of a big deal. I love you, Kevin. I'm just busting on you.
His little space drive-by.
Oh, like the Jetsons?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think my kids are playing hide and seek, and it's dark out here.
That's the best time to do it.
Hey,
Right,
whatever.
'cause
I
then
don't care what.
Then you don't have to
I
try
don't
and
care.
find them, and you have peace and quiet.
Well, I mean, they only came over here twice, and the one time I only just tapped my foot and went shh, and then she ducked behind the van so they could scare her. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, true, Kristen. Next time, who knows what he's going to be in next time? He might be in a bus or a truck or a car or ship.
Phenomena.
Do, 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 do.
Phenomena.
Do, 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 do.
Phenomena.
Do, 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 do.
You're welcome, guys.
Yeah.
Who's that one?
It's Amy, Willow, and Cody.
Oh. I'm assuming Amy's the one under badass.
Yeah.
Oh, Amy is badass. She's a badass little hotness ninja is what she is. Be careful, she'll kick you in the head.
Okay.
You wouldn't think so, with only being 5 foot tall, that I could do something like that, but
But she can.
and I don't even need a chair.
She's a wicked little lady.
Right,
I kick someone who
off a death warrant.
I'm 5'5", and I kick someone who's 6'5" in the head.
I'd like to kick someone that's like 6'5" in the head. Oh wait, maybe we shouldn't talk about that. I just realized you're still alive. Oops.
What did I do?
My bad. Well,
I'll
I
take
didn't say a name. We're good.
Yes, you're right. Dynamite does come in small packages.
Dad, you're just stealing yourself a death warrant.
No.
Well, that was my belly laugh for the week.
Amy picks on me too much. She wouldn't hurt me.
Nah, I wouldn't.
Amy, that hurt.
I'm sorry. I forgot we were live. My bad.
That was funny though.
Well, the truth is the truth, right?
You know,
Some
I
people
never-
know how to speak the truth, and some people lie about it.
Yes. I never really thought about throwing my leg at trees before, but the thought has occurred to me recently.
I've heard about those tree beetles. They're supposed to be delivered on Tuesday, just so you know.
Awesome. Well done.
Oh, okay. It's named before. Yeah, well, Amy's gonna kick my ass or kick my head.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my.
For sure, for sure.
You betcha.
Alrighty then. Yep, here we go again.
Calm down, Jim. You're out of control.
Has Tim been in the tomato garden?
No,
No, just checking.
I probably
He's way
should.
too hyper for that.
I probably should, but I haven't. It's called lack of sleep.
Mm.
I passed out about 8 o'clock last night, woke up about 12:30 with fireworks going off everywhere around. Didn't go back to sleep till this morning. Y'all were live. Slept for a couple hours and been going strong since.
Yeah, my son's not going to be too happy if the fireworks wake him up. He's going to be at work for 6 in the morning.
Heck yeah.
Thankfully, once I go to sleep, unless they like set off an M80 right outside my bedroom window, I don't hear them.
I'm so used to my son's gaming noises and yelling and screaming that I don't really pay attention to noise anymore.
I have to go in, so I have to mute myself, and I will be.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! I will be right back.
Okay, we will see you when you get back.
Oh,
No, you won't see me. You'll hear me, but you won't see me.
Look, Miss Semantics.
Okay.
Just go.
I am. I have to put my stuff down so I can do this. Oh gosh. Okay, you don't need to hear me fall out of the van because I have to like slide. Yeah. Anyway.
I have not only heard you. I have not only heard you fall out of the van before. I have seen it. Okay.
Ah, shit.
That was funny though, because I didn't get hurt, so that made it even better. And I couldn't stop laughing. And you're like, "Are you good?" And all I could do was give you a thumbs up because I couldn't say anything.
That's
Now
funny.
we have helicopters. Okay. Helicopters and fireworks tonight. Yay.
Hey, all right.
Not always a good combination for the helicopter.
Just as long as they don't have a spotlight on you, you're all right.
Stay under the carport or go inside. And hope they don't see your kids running around in the yard hiding.
Yeah. Neighbors called. There's kids out here being suspicious.
Yeah.
Well, they've probably got night vision and heat sensors.
Yeah.
My dog leaning on me like that, it offsets my back really bad. So when she moves, I'm like, oh, relief. Because it puts a lot of strain on my back when she leans on me. She's not that heavy. It's just awkward. She's laying on the floor now. She'll be back in a minute, though, because the cat just went down on the floor to harass her.
Hey. Hey, Mr. Lane, when is it you gonna have your surgery?
I'm back now.
Welcome back.
Oh my. Okay,
Welcome back. Welcome back.
I could just see like the spotlight being on my yard and being like, there's one kid, there's the other kid.
How many
I couldn't
suspects
talk,
are
it
we
was too
looking for?
noisy. Right.
Wait, I thought you said there was only 2 suspects. How come we got 4 of them out here? They're multiplying. Amy ends up with 10 cruisers pulled up at her house.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, it would not be the first time. I was at my cousin's house, and this was like when all the kids were little. And I woke up to somebody like going from the roof to the ground on like one of those bungee straps. Yeah, it freaked me out. They called 911 multiple times and kept hanging up. They freaking
Oh,
sent out like a SWAT team to her house.
damn.
Freak, because all they could hear was kids. What they were doing, they were laughing, but when their kids are little, you can't tell the difference all the time when they're laughing and crying.
Right.
So they thought all these kids were crying. There was 7 kids. I'm sure they were loud. I don't know. But I'm just like, what the heck did I just see? And she comes running out of her bedroom. I come out of the room I was in and I'm like, what was that? And she goes, some dude just like came from the roof and I don't know what happened. We woke up to this. And she opens the door and there's like 10 of them standing right there. And I'm like, oh. Okay.
My mother, my very gentrified mother in her very middle to high class neighborhood, had 4 sheriff's deputies, cruisers, show up at her house when my daughter was 14. Because my oldest daughter, in her infinite wisdom of trying to manipulate a guy to keep talking to her, a man, by the way, not a boy, but a man, in New York City, she was in instant messenger with him. And he was trying to break off whatever kind of relationship she was trying to establish. She threatened suicide. And he immediately got off the messenger with her and contacted the police in New York, who, I mean, he knew she lived in South Carolina. He just didn't know where. Well, their IT people in New York traced her IP address, found out what town she lived in, called the state troopers in our state, who contacted the sheriff's department, who showed up at my mother's house. They ransacked my daughter's room looking for sharp objects. And of course, anything sharp, including ballpoint pens, are confiscated. And they had this big talk, and my daughter's screaming, no, that's mine. You can't take that. And the sheriff looked at them and told her the only thing that she was entitled to was 7 sets of clothes, 1 for each day of the week, possibly a spare, and her personal toiletries, soap, shampoo, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrush, things like that. Anything else was extra, and she wasn't entitled to it whatsoever. And she should just sit down and be quiet, little girl, because otherwise I will watch your grandmother spank you. And I'm like... So, but my mother was more horrified. The thing that pissed me off, my mother was more horrified that there were sheriff's cars sitting in front of her house than she was at the fact that her granddaughter threatened to commit suicide over the internet.
Oh,
And that she was talking to a man who was 30 years old. She was 14.
I'd be kicking my kid's ass.
But nothing
For
I
all
said
of it.
registered with her, you know? I mean... Yeah, even after I busted Desiree talking to, she was talking to 4 other adult men, one of which had a 2-year-old child, that she could have caused him to lose custody of his kid, because their conversations were definitely not PC, because she was pretending to be 18 years old.
Oh my!
And
I remember you telling me about that.
And that she had a 2-year-old child. So, here's a girl who's 18 years old, the peak of her life, right? Sexually active, has already had a child. She was claiming to have already tried to commit suicide, so she was under psychiatric care in a therapeutic home where she gets picked on all the time. So, of course, she needs to be rescued, right? Needs her guardian angels to come to her rescue and pump her up, make sure she's always stays positive. She found her brother hanging from a tree in the backyard. I'm dead. I look pretty good for a dead person, don't I? I think so. Yeah, she had the whole story down pat. She had these people... These guys, hook, line, and sinker, to be this vulnerable girl with really high intelligence. But so of course they were interested, and she was portraying something she wasn't. She's the good. My daughter ended up being the kind of person that you warn your kids about on the internet. Not a proud parental moment for me. And how did my mother deal with this? She told my daughter she could go camping with us. I'm like, what? I'm like, no.
Yeah, not you're grounded.
No, it was because she said, well, I wouldn't act this way if maybe I get to spend more time with my mother. I'm like, oh, you are not using me as an excuse for this kind of behavior. Nope. So, I mean, John and the kids had been camping in the backyard because, we had 4 acres of property, and part of it was along a little creek. and I couldn't get to it because it was down a really a really steep, slanted slope.
That's too
But
many S words.
I know. So I couldn't get to it comfortably because not being able to feel anything under my feet, it was dangerous. But John and Kayla and Johnny were down there, and she's like, "Well, my little brother and sister get to go camping, and I don't." She just was away for a week at band camp.
This one time.
This one time, she went to band camp quite a few times, but so my mother's like, "Oh, well, you can go next weekend." I'm like, "Whoa, what the hell is happening?" So because I outed her to my mother, and I talked to the men that she'd been talking to, because damn right I called them on her phone, and was like, "Are you aware that the girl you're talking to is 14 years old?" And they all freaked the fuck out.
Oh, and by the way, I am her mother.
Yeah, they were like, "No, her mother's dead." I was like, "Really? Do I sound dead?" I was like, "I think I remember because I was there when she was born." All except for the 19-year-old Marine. He knew how old she was. He's the one who sent her the ejaculation pictures. That Marine eventually went to the brig, but you know, this shit, I was like, "Mom, you need to supervise her when she's on the computer. What the hell?" I mean, I had those hidden keylogger things on my computer for when Kayla and Johnny went on it. Every single keystroke was recorded. Plus, I had keywords that would, flag me and let me know if there was any of the words that I indicated on the list. If any of those words were typed out, it would let me know. It would give me a notification in my email. So yeah, I kept track of my kids online. I'm not that parent. I don't let the kids do whatever the hell they wanted. But my mom was just oblivious. She didn't know how computers worked, and my daughter used that to her advantage. Unfortunately for her, I do know how computers work, and I was able to get into her email and find out what the fuck she was doing, and it was not good. So I talked to the Marine, and I had to use my drill sergeant mass hall voice on him, and then he listened for a little while, but then they started communicating again, and that's one of the things that ended him up in the brig. Yeah, Iris, seriously. I mean, so yeah, I hadn't had custody of my daughter my oldest since she was 3. My parents raised her, and they did not do a good job. I mean, the girl's brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Her learning curve is huge. She gets straight A's. She's been on the dean list on college when she went for her teaching degree. She was on the dean's list. She's on the dean's list again with her vet tech work, which she's doing right now because she's trying to get a better job. There's just no teaching jobs, and she doesn't want to work customer service the rest of her life. So she said she wanted to be a vet tech, and so far she's straight A student. So she's working her ass off, and I'm fully proud of her for that, but she's just not a very nice person. Her people skills are pretty much zero. I mean, she can fake it, but I don't know. At least she's letting me see my, have contact with my grandkids this time. Yeah, well, I'm too terrified to contact them on my own. I tell my mom all the time, tell them, I said hi and I love them, and she does. Because I've heard her do it when I'm on the phone with her, but I'm afraid to contact them on my own because if I say the wrong thing and Desiree gets upset with me or whatever, then that's it. No more contact, so I can't risk it. I'd rather have the option there than have it taken away. So it is what it is, Everybody has to deal with their bullshit in their families, and
yeah, and they're getting to their own age. Well, they'll be able to do things on their own.
Yeah, I mean, my granddaughter's 14, and my grandson is about to turn 16. I feel so old. His birthday is this month. I've got like the 22nd. It's 21st. I can never remember my the date of and I feel horrible that I can't remember what day in July that my grandson's, because my son is the 26th, my mom is the 25th, and I know my grandson's is either the 21st or the 22nd, and I can never remember which one. And I feel horrible, but I haven't been in their lives enough that it's, I mean, I remember my granddaughter's because it's the opposite of my middle daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Kayla's birthday is April 6th, and my granddaughter's is June 4th. So 4-6 and 6-4. So that's how I remember that one. But my grandson is. I need to write that shit down. Problem is, I'll put it down on a phone, and then I'll end up changing phones, and it's gone. You know. So, yeah, I'm horrible with, and I feel bad. Every time I have to ask my mom, which day is his birthday? She's like, you should know this. I'm like, you can't even remember my name. Don't bitch at me about birthdays. And it's not just recently that my mom hasn't been able to remember my name in about 30 years. She's called me her sister's name, my other aunt's name, my daughter's name, everything except my name. Hey, Abstract.
Kind of hard not to remember Cody.
Hello, Faith.
No, that's not her name.
Yeah, that's not my name. It's the name I've chosen. It's not my name on my ID. It's not my government name. It's not my government name.
Yeah, Abstract.
But what's funny is none of the other names have the same letter as mine except my daughter's. So I could see it if it was just Desiree and my name, but it's not. My one aunt is my Aunt Karen. She's the only aunt I have left. And my mom's sister's name was Janet. And Eleanor. So they're not even close. Yeah. Not even close. She kept calling me Desiree the other day, and I was like, you realize that's not my name, right? And she goes, oh, you know what I mean. I'm like, no, could you use my name, please? Yeah, Iris, but I'm an only child. Okay. Yeah, there's no. And my mom is the one that picked my name. So if you didn't like it, why'd you pick that one? You know? Pick a name, any name.
My mother.
You know what I don't understand, speaking of children and names and being picked and things like that, is being adopted. I was adopted when I was 5 days old, right? And I've been watching a lot of Unsolved Mysteries, like all of them. And these people are looking for their, biological parents. Yeah, Iris, that's what I'm saying, see? Now you understand my frustration. But the kids that are looking for they keep saying real parents. No, the people who raised you, as long as they were good people. Yeah. As long as the people who raised you weren't assholes, those are your parents. Your biological parents or your birth parents are a totally different thing. Hey, Abstract. But they're all like, I need to know who I am. I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel total. What the hell? I mean, you have that many insecurities that you don't know who you are just by how you are and how. What the hell? Your birth parents have nothing to do with that. I can see wanting to know your heritage and your history because medical history is important, but your birth parents have nothing to do with who you are.
Right.
I don't understand that mentality. I mean, and so many of them have it that they don't feel like they're a whole person because they don't know who their birth parents are. Well, what if you never knew you were adopted? Would you still have that feeling of loss? No, because it's all in your fucking head. That's why. I have no problem. Obviously, I know who I am. I have no problem with that.
I call my kids each other's names, and that's when they know they're not in trouble. When I call them their right name,
Hi, I'm Andrew.
Get out of here, Nicholas.
Hey,
go
Bug.
away. That's not Bug. That's
Bug.
Shithead.
Hey, Bug.
Where is Andrew? That was actually Nick.
Um,
Andrew is still here. He didn't go anywhere. Okay. You said he's not here.
Okay, he's not right there, but he's here.
I know. He acted like he left, and I'm like, nobody said anything. That was last weekend. Oh my gosh,
But
I gotta
Iris,
go the other way.
Iris, if you never knew you were adopted, would you have that feeling of not knowing where you came from?
Go away.
You know what I mean? Until that mental bug, no offense, bug, but until that mental bug is put in your brain, you would never have any concept of loss or not knowing where you came from or who, you know, what your origins are or anything like that. None of that would be in place.
Are y'all seeing my avatar, or are you just seeing like a line through it?
White screen with a red streak.
I'm wondering why that is.
I don't know.
How bizarre.
Me neither.
Have you been abstract?
I'm okay.
Good. Don't mind my rambling.
That's what it is. It's a ramble.
We all do it. See, it says that I'm on it. How bizarre.
Cody, did you forget? Oh my gosh, now I can't talk. Did you forget that Abstract talks to me daily? There we go. I'm going to start talking like this so I can say words.
Like, find words there, Miss Deadass. Let's find
You know
words.
how it is. No.
I do.
No, Amy, I did not forget that she talks to you daily.
So she's used to Ramble's rats. Oh my god.
Come on, your kids aren't that bad. Come on, your kids aren't that bad.
Ramble, rants, and bitchy moments. That's what I was trying to say, but I said rats. She might be used to that too. I mean, I don't know.
But she's also having to deal with mine as well.
Yeah, well.
She just goes radio silent when I go off.
So do I.
Until I'm done, and then she's like, okay, now, next.
No, maybe because I don't have that issue in my head. I don't understand how other people, it seems like a serious weakness to me that people aren't secure enough in themselves that they have to, to go to the point of going to Unsolved Mysteries to find their biological parents, that they're that desperate to know about the people that gave them up for adoption. There are a lot of times when the parent was tricked into giving the baby up. So it's nice that they have that reunion, that's great. But what about the parent that never wants to be found? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Or, they had their reasons and that's a part of their life that they have walked away from and they don't want to come back to it.
It's true. It does happen.
So,
on both parts.
There are all kinds of circumstances and some people have had their babies stolen. Unsolved Mysteries has had a bunch of instances where a nurse has stolen babies out of a hospital and then sells them. And the parents their kid just disappears and they don't know, anything that happened. So yeah, it's nice to have those reunions, but it's rare for that kind of thing to happen in general. So there are so many different circumstances that can be a reason for adoption. I know that my parents went through an actual agency as far as I remember my mom telling me. She doesn't tell me too much, but I know that they went through an actual agency in Maine, which seemed weird to me because my parents lived in Massachusetts. But I guess interstate adoption type of thing. So they did have to live in Maine for 6 months. And people came out every week and checked on me and my mom and made sure that everything was okay. My dad came out for the weekends for 6 months, and then they were able to take me back to Massachusetts. And then I lived in Massachusetts. But
that was nice dedication.
Yeah. My mom lost 3 babies before me. She had a set of twins that were stillborn, and she had a baby boy that was stillborn, and they were stillborn because of abuse. She was almost a term when she was abused by her husband, and he caused so much damage in her when he...
Her first husband,
when he was kicking the crap out of her when she was pregnant. She was 7 months pregnant with the twins. He kicked the crap out of her, literally, and it caused so much internal damage that she couldn't have any more children. And she really, really wanted a child. So
is he still alive?
Huh?
Is he still alive?
Yeah, she wouldn't tell me his name because she knew I would find him and he would not exist anymore. She wouldn't. To this day, she won't tell me his name. And I asked all of my relatives too, and they were like, "Who?" They denied that she was ever married before. Even though they're the ones that encouraged her to stay married the first time he did it.
Because you got to remember back was Coda. It wasn't until The Burning Bed came out.
Yeah.
Mid 80s that they even brought attention to the thought process changing to where women weren't men's property.
Yeah. Well, it was a little bit.
I can say that because my first husband kept me locked in rooms for 5 years.
Yeah.
Nobody did anything because it was the man's right. He was your husband, and that was his right.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this is back. See, they were. I don't know how long they were married actually before I was adopted, but she was 30 when I was adopted, and it was in 1969. So she was married the first time, I believe, when she was 18 or 19. So it was in the 40s probably that all of this happened. And yeah, you just didn't walk away from your marriage. She tried. I mean, he was throwing knives at her. He was a drunk.
My grandfather dragged my mom back by the head of her hair and said, "This is your husband. Stay married."
Yeah. It wasn't until the second time he almost killed her that her family finally said, "Okay, enough is enough," and they let her leave him. But
yeah, because throughout time we have been subservient in a lot of,
Yep.
Even now, if we get ticked off or angry, oh, she must be on that time of the month. Not that we have a mind of our own and can get good and pissed for whatever reason. There has to be well, she's just a hysterical female.
Yeah.
She's on her time of the month. And men still think that way. There's a lot of men that still think that way.
Like Tina put in the chat, God forbid you are married to a cop. That applies even today.
So yeah, even today, yeah.
Or a lawyer.
Yeah.
Anybody in power and you're fucked.
We had a local cop recently, well, like within the last couple of years. He got, like, I've known him since we were in school together. When I was going through that time in my life that I needed somebody to say something to me that made sense instead of just, you need help,
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that I was telling you about that sat there on the steps at the apartment complex. He's like, you need to get your shit together before you end up dying from this. And then he worked his way up from being like the rookie cop all the way up to chief of police, and then beat up his wife. He had the chance to either, what's it called? Either get fired or
resign.
Thank you. Resign, yes. And he resigned, but now he works at the jail, which it just makes no sense. He went from a police officer to a
corrections officer.
Thank you. Gosh, what is wrong with my words tonight? Damn it.
I call them jailers.
Yeah, but here's the bad thing: he'll be an abuser in there.
Yeah,
and he can get away
with it. But they
don't
care when it's the people in jail.
Yeah, they don't. You can get away with it in there.
Here in San Juan County, the jail is under so many lawsuits right now because here in my hometown, too many people are dying that are in the county jail because it's being run by a private company. That's the other thing you have to watch out for. A lot of these jails and prisons are becoming privately ran.
Yes.
It means they don't have to really follow a lot of the state's rules and regulations. They do as far as like you have to have so many calories a day, yada yada. That the basics. But other than that, they can do whatever they want to you.
Yep.
Because they're not being accountable by anybody.
The people that my middle child ended up going to live with, her friend there, whose father was one of the Southern Wrestling Association wrestlers. He tried to be a cop. He couldn't make the cut. So he became a corrections officer, and he was an abusive motherfucker in there. And I know because John kept ending up in Anderson County Correction Detention Center. Yes, John got to go to a place with things that said ACDC. He was happy with that. He was like, at least I got good letters on me. I'm like, oh, not exactly the highlight you're supposed to look for, but and he was abusive as fuck. The guy threw his weight around. He bullied the new people, especially the kids that had never been in jail before. And he tried because he knew John. So he tried to bully John. Knowing John, he should have known better. Because John just stood there and looked at him and goes, if you're feeling froggy, go ahead and jump. But I will fight back. And the guy looked at him. Now, this guy outweighed John by a good 100 pounds. And it was not muscle. Okay? But John was like, go ahead. He's like, you can't bully me. He goes, you cannot push me around. He goes, you can try and make my life miserable in here, but I'm just doing my time until I'm out of here. He goes, not only that, but I have your superiors in my pocket because I work in the fucking kitchen, you asshole. He goes, so do whatever you like. But when their food is off, because you fucked with me and I'm not in the mood to cook correctly, they can deal with you.
Yeah.
So John used to stick up for the kids. I mean, even though, okay, they've committed crimes. Well, when you have a kid that's busted for, I don't know, shoplifting or something, and he's in there for 6 months, never been in jail before, and he's curled up in the corner crying because he's scared to death. Yeah. Comes in and starts bullying him. Come on, you know? So John would walk in the cell and be like, is there a problem? Like he was the one that was in charge. I'm like, oh shit. And the other COs did not like this guy either. So John was talking to one of them. He goes, I swear if he picks on one more of the newbies in here. And the CO was like, we don't see nothing. So John could have wrecked this guy. None of the COs would have done a damn thing because they could not stand him. Because he would come swaggering in like he owned the fucking place. There's COs in there that have been working there for 20 years. This guy's there for 2 days and he's acting like he owns the place? No. You know, I mean, you got bad COs, you got good COs. You got COs that know better. You know? This guy, he didn't last long. I think he worked there for about 9 months. And
9 months too long.
Yeah, he started fucking with John's mail. Now, John used to get letters from me that were novels. They were 8 pages back and front. So basically 16 pages of letters from me like 3 times a week. And there were people in there that wouldn't get any mail. So I was not happy when I found out John was reading my letters out loud, especially some of the parts, you know. But everybody would be like, oh, Callie's got mail because he's from California. So they called him Callie. Callie's got mail, and they'd all gather around in his cell and listen. You know, it was like a fucking thing. And the CO started withholding John's mail, which caused a problem with everybody. Everybody started getting really cranky and depressed and being like, when are you going to get another letter? He goes, I don't understand why she hasn't written. And he called me. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've sent you like 6 letters in the past week and a half. And he goes, I haven't gotten any of them. I'm like, well, I haven't gotten them back. And the guy was withholding them and reading them, and my dad, perv. And so John made because he made all the top guys in the organization there. He made all their food, and he did exactly what he said. He just started making plain food, and they were like, "What's going on with our food?" He's like, "Well, I'm not really feeling it with cooking." He goes, "I haven't received any of my mail." He goes, and my girl told me she sent me like 6 letters. I haven't gotten any of them. And they were like, what? And he's like, yeah, I haven't gotten any mail. He's like, she sent them. And they're like, well, that does make sense. He goes, well, CO Robin, whatever his last name was, is in charge of the mail. So he's got a thing with me, you know that. So they went and they checked dude's locker, and John's mail was in his locker.
That could get somebody fired, you would think.
Yes, it did.
Because that's like a felony. I don't care if you're in jail or not. You can't.
It did get him fired. And you know what he ended up being? A fucking mall cop, right? He chased a couple of skateboarders out of the mall, right? And somebody was sitting in the parking lot that apparently recognized him and didn't like him, and they hit him with their car and broke his leg.
I know.
I'm like, well, karma. Yeah.
Funny.
So he couldn't wrestle. He couldn't work. He ended up on the system for a while, which is when they ended up talking my daughter into calling DSS on me and making up a whole bunch of bullshit, and got her in their house where they were getting $400 a month just for having my daughter in there. So that's how they supplemented their income, was by stealing my kid.
Wow.
So that was fun. Yeah.
I need to go. My kids are... I'm going to have to go, like, smack them like the 3 Stooges, the 4 Stooges, whatever. Just line them up and just bam, bam, bam. I can hear them. They're inside.
Yeah. All right, honey. Have a good night.
I can hear them, like fighting. Not fighting like fist fighting. I'd probably just be like, knock your shit off.
Your
That's
mom and
usually
dad
what I
aren't
do.
asleep yet? It's
No,
like 10 o'clock there.
they're probably it's Saturday though.
Yeah, but your mom still goes to sleep sometimes.
Mom doesn't usually go to bed before 1 a.m. I go to bed before she does. And
What about
she's
your
supposed
dad?
Well, Dad gets up at 3 a.m., so he goes to
I
bed at
know.
like 8.
That little
But he
4-year-old better
doesn't
be in bed by now.
they don't really know him as that. They know him as Beast Man.
Oh.
I know the 4-year-old.
I know the 4-year-old too.
Do you?
Yes, I do. I know him very well. Thank you.
He needs to, yeah. If he doesn't get rest, he gets grumpy.
But he went on. I was talking to Amy once, and he went, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, Beast Man." That, and she showed me like her next to him, and it was like boom, and I'm like, "Damn, he's a beast." So
Yeah.
he is Beast Man.
He's like 6'5".
He's like no, he's 6'2", but
Really?
He just
That's
seems
all?
he seems like he's 6'5" because
Yeah.
she's 5 nothing.
Well, that's true too.
I didn't have shoes on, so I was under 5 foot. I'm only 5 foot when I have shoes on.
Oh.
They give me an extra. They
We
give me an
need to
extra
get her
inch
a
and a
hobbit
half.
hole. We got to get her a hobbit hole. She sent me a picture of a perfect hobbit hole the other day.
I want
Yeah,
that.
I'm
I
only
want to
5'1".
live there. That's a real house.
I would too. I would have one built like that too. Even if I had a house built, you can. I've seen where they do the facade of the door. It's like the hobbit hole.
Yeah.
And they open. Oh, I would so do that because I'm only 5'1".
My friend,
5'2", but
my friend in Oregon, her son had the attic as his bedroom. When he left and moved out of state because he got a job out of state, she was like, "Don't expect to come back and your room be the same because it's not your room anymore." Bam. He was like, "Well, shit." She designed this whole little library back there because she loves to read, and she's big into fantasy. She's also pagan, so she, big into the fantasy, science fiction, all that. Her husband actually built her a hobbit door for her library.
Oh.
So you go up into the attic room, and there's like a room, and then there's the hobbit door, and it's absolutely. She actually has an exact copy from the set of Charmed, of the Charms Book of Shadows.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and she has it on a stand just like they do on a podium in her library.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, you're a spoiled bitch, and I'm coming to visit.
Poor Amy's been having to be abused by having to listen to my book as I edit and stuff. I'll make her like my listen.
There isn't. Okay, first of all, it's not even something I would normally pick up to read. Second of all, it's not an abuse. I actually have enjoyed all of that I've heard.
I'm editing.
And third, yeah, she's like, "I'm sorry, I have to fix this," and I'm like, "Okay, isn't that why you're reading it to me to begin with?" So you can catch the mistake.
When you're looking at something with your eyes, you're going to see it as you intend it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that that's what you're seeing. So I like to read it out loud to see if it's flowing.
When I took my English classes and I had to write my essays, they always told you to read it out loud to see if it made sense.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because what you're thinking in your head and what you're seeing with your eyes may not be what you put on paper.
Exactly.
That's why this has been such a process. And my friend that she's my cut niece, but that I edit with, her life is so freaking busy right now. I held an auction in a thrift store when I was in Texas. We do Marco Polo. So I will Marco Polo a whole page. And then when she gets back to me. Okay, this is where this is. How about this? This sounded like that. And she's also the one that does all my, we'll be changing the punctuation and all that good stuff for me.
Grammar.
I'm not trying to do all that.
Yeah.
But pay an editor to do that? Sweet Jesus.
Oh, no.
It is. Oh. I still want to have some kind of a contest for the cover. Oh, my dog is good. I should have got him some seaweed. That's why you're cleaning to me. People are doing their Snapcracker pops.
Yeah.
and he is just like underneath my chair, underneath my legs, and if I move, I'm going to run him over.
I should have actually gone into editing as a career, because I mean, when I was 14, I got a red pen and corrected my mother's spelling on a letter she wrote me at camp and sent it back to her. Holy fuck, was she mad at me?
Oh, Virginia, I saw where you said hi to me. I wasn't being rude, honey. I'm sorry. Hello.
She told me if I ever did that again, she wouldn't put any more money in my canteen.
Aw.
She was the one that made me do extra spelling and grammar workbooks when I was a kid. It's her own fault.
My dad had me spelling the word encyclopedia when I was 2. Don't get me doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it now. But yeah, my dad was kind of a butthead.
But I'm a visual person. I can't spell shit out loud. Well, I can spell some things out loud, but I know with words that like, how do you spell this? And I'm like, I can type it, I can write it, but I can't do it out loud, because all of the work she had me do was all written. So I'm a very visual person.
I read the first couple of pages to 2 male friends of mine.
Did they have to take a break?
No. But they got the visualization.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one was very much cowboy. He's a little bit younger than I am, but this is totally not something he would ever think he'd ever read. You know, he's very. How do you describe this? Come on, Amy, help me with the word here.
Manly man?
DJ. The one with the cowboy hat the other night. He's very black and white. You know, yeah, he still would open the door for people. I don't know. He's just. And then you have Mike, who's in Washington. He's older. He's like in his late 60s. And they both love what they've seen in this book, and they both want to read it when it's done, and they're both shocked that they do, because it is nothing. I mean, Mike repairs cuckoo clocks and stuff.
Yeah,
that's what he does.
Everybody has a naughty side. Nobody wants to admit to it.
Well,
I have no problem.
Not any of the naughty stuff to them, but
My thing is, I want you to be able to visualize and see this, hear this, visualize smelling it yourself.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm doing now with it, and because it's the Genesis book, it's I tip my hat to these authors with all their series that they have going, because the Genesis book of each one of that, where you have to introduce, even if they're there for a paragraph,
yep,
characters that are going to come to more to life in a future book, but you can take it back to the beginning.
Yep.
God, it makes my brain hurt sometimes. I lose track that I'm even on the phone with her sometimes. She'll have to say something, and I'm like, oh my God, I am so sorry.
And it's funny because like Sherilyn Kenyon has talked about her characters, and she talks about them like they're living entities. Like,
they are.
People will ask her about a character. When is that character's book coming out? And they're like, she'll be like, so and so isn't ready to have their story written yet. And a lot of people don't understand that. Me, I understand it, but people will sit there and look all confused, like it's your story. How come you can't just write it? And it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
But then she'll have an abstract character that was mentioned like briefly that's screaming to have their story told. So she has to write that one, and I love Sherilyn Kenyon. I really do. I got to meet her and hug her. She hugged me. I got hugged by Sherilyn Kenyon. I'm all excited. I'm all excited. She's got a bunch of series out, but her biggest one is a Dark Hunter series, and they're kind of like a vampire-esque type of. I would say that's the closest thing I can get to how they are, is vampire-esque.
Her name is Sherilyn what?
Sherilyn Kenyon, Kenyon, Kenyon. And it's Sherrylyn, Sherilyn.
Oh, my dog is going nuts.
And her books are amazing.
But it's not like he's going nuts. He's just, I don't want a Charlie. I want a Cheryl. No, I don't mean Charlie. I'm going to spell the last one for me. I want to see. I think I may have done it wrong.
Hold on a sec. I can actually grab you the link because it just pops up on my screen.
Imagine that works. I love Suzanne Wright.
Hmm?
She's a wonderful author, Suzanne Wright. I won one of her. She just did a whole thing about her new one coming out of contest, and I won it.
Oh, cool. See, I was able to do the interview with Vampire and Lestat. But her other books, I can't, they jump around too much. However, Anne Rice's trilogy book with Sleeping Beauty, I got into that.
She does a whole series of S&M stuff. She's a different name for it.
Yeah, and Rolacquar or whatever. But you can look up Sherilyn Kenyon's Sleeping Beauty trilogy and it'll come up. Although apparently there's a fourth book in it now, so it's a quad, not a trilogy. I need the fourth book. I have the trilogy. I need the fourth book.
Yeah, I'd love to read that fourth book.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But yeah, I put
Susan Wright, and I like Lorraine. Oh, I've not seen any of her stuff. I'm looking at the covers. No, I've not seen any of this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Her League series. Her League series is really good too. That's a space series. So.
See, she has a little trailer on her webpage.
See, if I'm ever going to write a book, it's going to be in space because I don't have to fact check a fucking thing.
Well, mine, I'm not fact checking anything because it's my own little world, so I can make them any way I want.
Yeah.
Now, in the back of the book, there will be, I think there's three live, oh, for the love of God, brain work.
Okay, I mean,
of three wilderness preserves that are protecting wolves in the real world.
Yeah.
And I think there's three. And I'll put all of their contact stuff in the back of the book.
Yeah. Iris, the first Sherilyn Kenyon book I read had a redhead on the cover. That's all I know. And that's what caught my attention because I'm a redhead and that caught my attention.
Elena Alder, who does the Bewitched Me Wildred series, which she's another really good author, and her lead character in there, I just love her. She is just a hoot, and she's like on series 12 in that series. But Brain Engage, where were you going? Say what you said a while ago.
What?
The Sleeping Beauty trilogy?
Sleeping Beauty trilogy, yeah.
No, you said something else that triggered a memory.
It's A.N. Rolacquar.
No, I just went out my
Or
brain.
just put Anne Rice. It will pull it up.
Nope. That wasn't it. She said something else, and it triggered something, and then it left my brain. That's why sometimes I just say things really fast, because my brain lately
is art in.
It just like leaves. And they're like, oh!
One of the two.
Oh, Elena Alder says, your audience will forgive you for a typo, but they'll never forgive you for a bad cover. The cover draws them. Just like what Coda just said. The cover, she's a redhead. The book cover was red. It drew that. What drew her to the author.
Yeah.
And then the books and the stories kept her, but the cover is what drew her.
The link the Amazon link that I just put in there is for the Anne Rice trilogy on Amazon. Not that you have to buy it or anything, but that's what it is. She uses her real name on it now. Apparently, she's like, to screw hiding what I am. I'm just going to be me.
Yeah.
Do you remember when she almost died?
No. Oh yeah.
When she was still in New Orleans when that happened.
Yeah.
That's when she found out she was a diabetic.
Yep. So, but her regular books, I can't get into them, and I don't know why, but
she has a whole witch series that's really good too.
I know. I tried reading it, and that's what threw me because they were doing, like, they would all of a sudden be in a different time period, flashback or flash forward, or they were all over the place, and I cannot read a book like that. I just can't. Flashbacks are one thing if you have warning, but she didn't give any warning. It was just all of a sudden from one paragraph to the next, it was flashback. I'm like, what is happening? I couldn't. Nope.
So her A.N. Relic, that's her real name?
The R name is her pseudonym name that she had written it under initially.
Oh.
so nobody would know it was an Anne Rice book because she didn't want people to know she was writing porn.
Erotica.
Sorry, erotica.
My daughter won't read my book at all because there's sex in it.
That's the only reason I'd read a book.
My daughter won't read it at all because there is sex in it.
Yeah, J.R. Ward is another one.
This book is not for children.
J.R. Ward, Black Dagger Brotherhood is another series that I absolutely love.
I have some J.R. Ward books, but I don't have a complete series, so I have not read any of them yet.
Yep.
They're all hardback.
Yeah, I have some hardcover ones too. It's a fantastic series. And I've missed some too because I just can't afford the books, you know. The one that was funny is that one, the gay one, that had them find his life mate was a guy. John had been reading the Black Dagger Brotherhood with me until I handed him that book. He read the first couple of paragraphs and went, "Nope." I'm like, what? I'm like, what? He goes, "I'm not reading gay books." I'm like, "You'll read about women being together." He goes, "Uh-huh." I'm like, "You're a pussy." And I grabbed the book and walked away.
Right?
I'm like, "You sexist." He's like, "Hey, that man's ass was sealed so tight he could have been called Frog." He actually looked at me once, right? We had watched the original Boondock Saints together because I watched it while he was locked up and it was awesome. So when he got out, I was like, "We need to watch this. You're going to love this movie." And, you know, so we watched it. And about 3 months later, he was pissed off we were going to fight. And he's like, I said something and I was like, "Go suck a dick." Like, I don't know. Weird shit comes out of our mouths when we would fight. And he goes, "Do I look gay?" I was like, "You look like you've seen a few up close." It's a line from the movie. It's a line from the movie. And we both just died laughing at end of argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He goes, "Okay, you win." And he walked away laughing his ass off. "You look like you might have seen a few up close." Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did say it with the Irish accent too, so he lost it. He was like, "I can't with you." I win.
They were together a long time.
So it's been a while. I mean, a long while since I've seen Boondock Saints. So
Iris, I like both, but it has to be in the written form. I don't get into watching porn or watching erotica.
Mine's erotica. I mean, just goes along with
what's happening, you know, at that given moment.
Well, I mean, it's a part of life. It's not like you have blackout periods like in soap operas. You know, they're kissing, and 3 days later they're still kissing, and then 4 days later, they're getting out of bed. You know, and I'm like, what? I think we missed something here. You know,
right?
It's not how life works. If it was, no one would ever have sex because obviously you don't get to remember it.
Right.
So, well, sex is just a part of life. It's how natural progression. So. It has to stimulate my brain, and watching it just doesn't do it. Yeah, reading it's much better because you get in the character's head and stuff. You can feel their emotions and what they're going through. If it's porn, you're just watching someone get fucked.
Well, we see that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That's called life.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
That's called life.
Yeah, okay, I got you now. Watching porn is boring. Reading about it is much better because you get to, yes.
Yeah. Well, that sneeze just came right out of nowhere. I was like, mute. Where's the mute?
I have a friend of mine that is, he's a dom, but he is, I'm sending him the sex scenes so that I can make sure I have the male's perspective down properly.
Yeah.
I'm not a man, so I don't know. So I'm going to make sure that I have what I wrote is, you know, and if it needs to be spiced up, he can let me know.
Well, I mean, and every couple has their own thing. I mean, there's some people that have much more serious.
They're not that way. They're not. But the wolves are very dominant.
Welcome back, badass.
Hey.
Welcome back. That was quick.
Did you go whip some butt?
You know that mom voice that I have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
So,
Keena's mom voice
Owen.
because she uses it against me all the time.
I'm gonna like go. They're not gonna like me if they don't freaking stop. They're not.
Iris is asking
Link
y'all a question.
posted, Iris.
I am really close to telling them we'll stay home and everybody else can go to Florida. That's how pissed I am right now.
What are they doing?
Ooh.
Oh,
Mom asked them to do something. Why do I have to? I'm only here every night. Because she freaking asked you to, so go do it.
I know which one that did that.
Well, it doesn't matter. They've all been doing it all dang day, and it's ticking me off.
Wow.
Like, even when I didn't stay at my grandparents', I still would have never talked to them like that.
Oh yeah,
I would have just did whatever. All she asked them to do was take some groceries that she bought, because, well, some of you might know, she has a pantry.
Yeah.
She has a pantry downstairs. She asked them to take it down. Why do I have to? Because you freaking eat here. That's why.
Right?
Like, it doesn't matter. She asked you to. My mom's 60. Walking up and down those stairs is not a good idea for her.
I'll hit 50 on Tuesday.
There's my rant, okay? There, you got a rant.
Yeah, we got another rant.
My kids are being little assholes tonight, and it's ticking me off.
Kids are being brats.
Oh, I think they passed the brat stage earlier today.
I was being polite.
Oh, you don't have to be. It's okay. I know what kids I have in there. Whew.
I talked to my sister on Messenger this morning. Told her what I sent her last night. She said, "Oh, goody, I can get smokes." Apparently, she's flat broke because her car broke down, and she's stressing on her rent.
It's okay, darling. It's okay. It's not even the 4th of July and they're all popping firecrackers in the neighborhood. And my dog is not a happy camper.
Yeah, her poor dog's gonna go ape.
Well, he's not saying a word. He's just huddled up underneath me and his ears are on alert. He's looking at the door.
Oh, I mean my sister's Princess. Dog's name is Princess Pain in the Ass. That's what it's on her registration papers.
Ah.
That's what I used to call my daughter Kayla, Princess Pain in the Ass.
But it's not on her birth certificate though, right?
No,
This is on the dog's registration papers for her microchip.
Yeah, that would be very cruel if I had named my daughter that. Besides, when they're born, you don't know how much of a pain in the ass they're going to be.
This is true. Or how long you get to put up with them being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Before someone tells you, "Oh, you're raising kids wrong," and takes them away.
Yeah, they did that.
My daughter was a week shy of 2 months old the first time I saw CPS with her. And they chased me every 3 months, regular as clockwork, till she was 5.
Wow.
Looking for a reason.
Good grief.
Yeah. It seems the people that actually neglect or abuse their kids get away with it on a regular basis, but the people that truly love their kids and are doing their best, they get harassed and bullied and browbeaten and lied about in court to the point that they lose their kids.
And no $3,000 for the lawyer to get them back either.
Well, I actually had a really good lawyer the last part of my dealing with DSS. He was absolutely fantastic and did a lot towards not letting them get away with as much. But he can only do so much because all the judges just agree with social services, you know.
They line up the little ducks in a row and. can't express personal opinions. It all has to toe the line.
Yeah, well, even then it doesn't matter because they still. I had my ducks in a row, and DSS had nothing, and they still sided with them about keeping my kids out of my house. So.
Well, Abstract and Jamie.
Yep.
I happened to. I was doing some research for a story about the time I lost my youngest. And I got the first chapter of the local DCFS procedure manual. They have 10 things they look for to keep kids away from their parents. And I had as much chance of getting my son back as a snowball has in hell.
Mm.
My oldest would be 29 in October.
I had a DSS supervisor that hated John. So with that going against me, they reworked everything they wanted, manipulated everything so they got what they wanted.
Supposed to protect kids, all these people use it as a weapon.
My son ended up in a foster care facility, so he was in like an all-boys home. And his counselor there, the caseworker at the facility, was like, "Why is your son here?" Because I actually showed up at all the meetings with him. You know, he would tell me, "Okay, well, I'm going to set up a meeting, blah, 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 blah. You know, can you be there?" And I'm like, "Yes." And I showed up to every meeting that we had. And I was always sober, and I wasn't high. And he's like, "Why is your son here?" I'm like, "Because DSS is a bunch of fucking assholes. That's why." And he was like, "Oh." He goes, "Because you're the only parent I have that comes here when you're supposed to, like every single time, and is sober." I'm like, "Because I don't drink, don't do drugs." He goes, "Wait, you don't have any kind of substance issue?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "Repeated arrest record?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "What the hell?" And I cared about my kids' education. I was pissed when they told me that I could not homeschool my son.
Yeah, I was pissed about that too.
Because I was not smart enough.
She was 3 and they shoved her right into Head Start. Didn't even give me a chance.
This was high school. My son had failed freshman year in high school because he couldn't deal with the teachers and the students. My son has a very low tolerance for stupidity. And he had ADHD with impulsive destructive disorder. He failed freshman year. And then I wanted to homeschool him, and he was very excited. I talked to him about the program and everything we were going to do. I had all the paperwork filled out. I had the money order. I hadn't filled it out yet, thank God. But I had the money order for the $35 for the homeschool association. And the guardian ad litem came out of nowhere. I had never seen him before. Just showed up and was like, "Well, I don't feel that you are intelligent enough to homeschool your child." Then turns around, looks at my son and goes, "Don't you want to go to public school? There are girls there." I'm not smart enough, but you're trying to bribe my son with pussy. Really? Okay. So the courts agreed that I wasn't smart enough. I'm like, you people don't know anything about me. My IQ is just below the high intelligent. I'm like the very upper echelon of medium to high. You know what I mean? I'm like, my IQ is like 120. I'm like, are you kidding me? And so they said, making me put him back in freshman year, and he's failing. And so then DSS says, "I'm a horrible parent. I'm not making him do his homework. If he doesn't bring it home, I can't make him do it. I don't have the funds to be driving him back and forth to school to go pick up his homework when he leaves it there." So, I'm a terrible parent, you know? And so they took him away again, and they had him there, and he failed freshman year with them. I was like, "Does that mean you're a horrible parent too, and I can have my kid back?" And then they told me, his counselor guy, whatever, told me that they were going to be sending him to a juvenile facility because he failed freshman year in high school. I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Exactly what does that entail?" And they're like, "Well, it's in the mountains," which is, by the way, 4 hours away from me. And he's like, "And it's a juvenile detention center." I'm like, "So you're going to send my kid to jail because he failed freshman year in high school?" And they said, "Well, it'll be more structured. You know, he'll have one, you know, like 2 sets of clothes, their sweatpants, sweatshirt." I'm like, no outside reading material, no games, no nothing, just schoolwork.
Sending him to jail.
Yeah, I'm like, so you're gonna put my kid in jail for? I was like, you are gonna have the biggest fucking lawsuit plus my foot up your ass that you have ever had in your life if you try and do that. There is no way in hell you are putting my kid with no criminal record in jail with a bunch of juvenile delinquents who are going to teach him to be a fucking criminal and give him anger issues. No. I was like, try it. And you can tell this facility, I said, try it. Tell this caseworker, fucking try it. Because I will sue everyone from the top all the way to the bottom. Everybody and their mother and their fucking dog are going to feel it by the time I'm done. And he was like, and this is why I like you as a parent. He goes, I will make that in my report. I'm like, thank you. Because he wanted someone to fight for my kid. I mean, you know, and he's like, this is why I don't understand why your son is even here. He's like, you were the only parent that comes in here and fights for their kid. And at one point I came in and fought for every boy in his what they called cottage in the house that he was in, because they charged them all with damaging a van and took all of their money. My son had saved up $300 in his account from doing chores and different things around the facility. And they took all his money. Now, mind you, it was a dent in the side of a minivan door. It knocked it off its track to put a dent in the door. There were 9 boys in that house. All of them had over $200 in their accounts. They wiped all the kids' accounts out. I'm like, a door does not cost that much to fix. And they didn't tell my caseworker about it. So she had no knowledge of it. I only found out about it because my son told me. And so my caseworker called the facility and they were like, well, the boys damaged it, da-da-da. And I was like, I need a conference call with these people at this facility. Now, mind you, his counselor, his caseworker that he had when he was there had left. He had gone to work for fucking, I don't know, like Porsche or some shit, Mercedes or something. So he didn't have anybody really in his corner. And I went to a conference call at the DSS facility, and they started blowing smoke and mirrors. And I was like, no. I was like, how many estimates did you get for the damage? And where are the pictures of the damage? And they're like, well, we didn't take pictures of damage, and it's already fixed now. I'm like, so you're telling me you did not take photographic evidence of the damage done to the minivan, plus photographic evidence of it being repaired? You did not get 3 notarized estimates on what the damage would be. They're like, no, we already knew where to take it. Yeah, it was one of the facility workers' husbands. I was like, okay, so where's the receipt for that? And they're like, well, you don't really need to see that. I was like, well, I really do, and my lawyer thinks so too. And I was like, I think I need a meeting in person with you people. I was like, I'll be there tomorrow at 9:00 in the morning. I was like, you know, all of your asses better be there. I don't know. I went down there like a fucking wrecking ball. I mean, I was like a freight train through there. They're trying to sit there and blow smoke up my ass. All these people sitting there with silver spoons in their mouths that stole poor kids' money. And I'm like, okay, well, I was like, where is the photographic evidence that these kids did this? And they say, well, it was damaged after they left the cafeteria. I was like, okay, where's the photographic evidence of that? Do you have, you know, cameras in the parking lot? And they're like, no. I'm like, you're in charge of the safety of children and you don't have security surveillance in the parking lot? I was like, which accesses all of these kids? I'm like, why not? I was like, okay, well, where are the cameras? They're like over the doorways. I'm like, okay, so in a period of 45 minutes before and after these specific group of kids left the cafeteria, how many kids went in and out of the cafeteria? And they're like, well, we don't know. I'm like, well, don't you think that would be important to know? I'm like, you don't have any evidence that these specific kids did this damage. You do not have estimates, notarized estimates of damage from the van. You had nepotism fix it, and you took way too much money. I was like, because I know damn well it costs about $60 to pull a dent and put a door back on track. And all of their faces dropped. I'm like, yeah, because my ex are all mechanics. I'm like, so you stole their money. And not only stole their money, but then punished them on top of that because they all got grounded and they couldn't do anything for like those 3 weeks. That was what my son was complaining about. He was bored up his ass. And they're like, well, we like to teach the kids a sense of responsibility. And I looked at this little prick and I said, you know what you're going to teach the kids now? That when you're wrong, you apologize and give them all their fucking money back. I was like, you have no proof that any of these kids did this damage, so you can give them all their money back, or my attorney will be contacting you, and this will be a class suit, because I will stick up and have my attorney stick up for every single kid in that cottage. And they were like, well, why do you, we'll give your son his money back. I was like, no, you'll give them all their money back. They're like, why do you care? I was like, because it's the people that are supposed to be taking care of these children aren't going to take care of them. Somebody fucking has to. And they did give them all their money back. They did not, the kids did not get an apology, but they did all get their money back. So.
No, at least they got their money back.
But I mean, I shouldn't have had to do that. You know what I mean? These people, I mean, they ripped these kids off so bad, and they ripped the facility off. The facility ended up being closed because of embezzlement. Because like at Christmas time, we have very wealthy people in South Carolina, and they donate to the different children charities and children, you know, foster homes and stuff, kids that can't spend Christmases with their families. And there was one that donated like $10,000 to just this facility to get all of the kids whatever they wanted for Christmas. The kids each got a few things. They got nice things. I mean, my son got his TV and his PS4 or PS3 back then, but it didn't even come close to $10,000, and that money just disappeared. Yeah, and I mentioned that to my attorney. He goes, "You know, I might just have to look into that." I'm like, "I would." So,
hello, Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn. So yeah, I mean, it's all a big ripoff. They get your kids because they listen to your kids. Because it was all my daughter that was doing the whole DSS thing. And
it's funny, they never listened to me. I had to prove abuse.
They listened to my daughter, like I said, had DSS supervisor in her corner, helping her make shit up. Because she knew exactly what to say to get my kids pulled. I got accused of manufacturing or doing methamphetamine. I've never even seen methamphetamine in person.
I don't even know what methamphetamines look like.
You know, and I mean, they even went to the point of going around and asking my neighbors if I had a lot of visitors. And they're like, nobody ever goes there. What are you talking about? Like making me out to be a big drug dealer or something. I'm like, nobody ever comes to our houses, ever. So, you know, but she knew what to have my daughter say in order for the kids to get pulled out of my house. Because she's a supervisor. Of course she's going to know what would key them off, you know? But, yeah, so...
Yeah, my sister was telling me I was extremely hostile to the CPS people. Bet your fucking boots I'm hostile to them bastards. They stole my kids. Didn't even give me a chance to try and take care of them. Oh, you're doing it wrong. You need to do this. You can't do that. Can't live in the sticks with a generator and a well. Have to come to town where it costs 10 times more. Can't be self-employed. Have to get a real job.
Mine wasn't so much that I was doing it wrong.
They were dictating my entire lifestyle.
It was that my house was a mess because that's when my back went out and nobody that lived in my house, the 3 other people, 2 children and an adult male, were not helping me keep it clean, and I couldn't do anything anymore. My back was out, and you know, DSS didn't offer the option of having someone come and help me clean it. So we don't offer that service. I'm like, oh well, that's good. I can't afford it. You know, so. Yeah, so it was that my house was cluttered. I mean, there weren't dead animals or food left everywhere or shit everywhere. The house was as clean as it could be with being as cluttered as it was. And there was, I mean, the one DSS worker told me that my house, or the guardian ad litem said my house smelled too badly of ammonia because of the cats. So he wanted them to put those air testers in my house to prove that my air quality was too unhealthy for the kids to be in my house. Yeah, all of those proved negative, that my house was completely safe levels for kids to be there. And I'm like, huh? And then the DSS worker, supervisor, and a cop came in my house, and they're standing there talking to me in my kitchen, and they're like, well, you know, the guardian of the line reported, you know, that your house smelled. I'm like, does it smell? They're like, well, we don't notice anything. I said, turn around. And there were 3 litter boxes, because I had like 11 cats at the time. There were 3 litter boxes lined up against the, you know, with little spaces lined up against the kitchen wall. They hadn't seen them when they came in, and they didn't smell them standing 2 feet away from them. I said, guess it doesn't smell too bad, does it? The guardian ad litem just lied all the time. That's all right. I got him fired without compensation because he had in his logbook that he had been coming to my house and to go see the kids ever since the case got opened. We didn't see him for the first 3 years. We didn't even know he existed. And he never went to see the kids. My DSS caseworker for the last half of this whole thing didn't even know who he was. She's like, "What do you mean, guardian ad litem? I don't even have anybody listed." So the next time we went into court, he couldn't be there because he had court in the city that's closest to us. He was a lawyer there. I was like, I would like to tell the court something about my guardian ad litem, and they're like rolling their eyes. I'm like, he has falsified his records. He has not been to see us all of those times he said. He has been in my house twice. I was like, he has never gone to see the children, and that you have to log in at the facility that my son was in. You have to log in every time you go to see one of the kids. So I was like, the login record would prove that. I was like, and I do have a copy of all of the days that he said he came to see my son. I have a copy of those pages. I was like, and he's not on it. I was like, and my caseworker who's sitting right there can attest to the fact that she's never met him or talked to him. So someone that's supposed to have the children's best interest at heart should really be in communication with the caseworker. Wouldn't you agree? And he's like, yes, he has down here that he's communicated. He looked at my caseworker and she goes, "Sir, I have never spoken to the guardian ad litem. I didn't even know who he was until, Miss Fontaine told me who he was." And the judge was pissed. So boom, you get no compensation, bitch. And he was an attorney. He was charging them like $200 an hour.
What are we
for
talking about? We're complaining about CPS.
Yeah, I'm complaining about DSS. I mean, it's all in the past, but it leaves a bitter scar. It really does.
Oh, yeah. And it never goes away.
What did I do today? I was on my live this morning. And
I was on that live, too.
Then I sat around on my ass, and I was reading, and then I was sleeping, and then I ate, and
I was stitching the story box, and I was playing video games.
I don't have my video game stuff
And I
set
get
up.
some sleep.
I have no place to set up my TV and my PS3.
Mine are on my laptop.
I don't game on my laptop. This is a $250 laptop that came off of Amazon. I'm not putting any more on it than I need to.
Yeah, this one was a gift, and it was pretty pricey.
This was John's laptop, and Issa wouldn't let him spend too much. So
the one I spent $150 on is about half full, but it's got a problem with the light guns.
And I don't like PC gaming. I like console gaming better.
I like my computer. It's smarter.
I like my PC gaming. I did PC game with John when we used to do it together, but I don't like playing online. Yeah, that's the thing, is I don't like online play.
No, I don't either.
So, John and I did Baldur's Gate, and we did Icewind Dale, and all of the little add-ons to those, the expansion packs and stuff like that.
No, I don't do online gaming. Mine are all.
Yeah. Well, Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter was offline. It was just, and it was on an actual PC. It wasn't on a laptop.
The only good thing about online gaming is talking to other people.
Not when they're assholes.
They're all assholes.
I'm good. I got an asshole that lives in my house. If I want to get grunted at, I'll just ask my son a question.
And oh yeah, that's another thing about online gaming. You can't let them know you're female.
Fuck that.
As long as you think you're a guy, all's good.
My son games with a girl all the time. They don't have a problem. None of his friends have a problem gaming with girls. They think it's pretty cool that girls can hang with them. So
it's the orange football.
Well, the game I played the premise was there are no girls play this game.
What are you playing?
Well, now I'm not playing. I quit that game.
Well, what was it?
Astro Empires.
Never heard of it.
I just love it. It's so cute.
I quit it like 5-6 years ago. I got bored.
I was tempted because Issa kept talking about World of Warcraft, and I was tempted. And John looked at me and goes, "Don't." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Because it's." He goes, "It's too stupid. You won't be able to deal with it." I'm like, "Oh, okay, never mind then." Because if John said that the level was too stupid, then yeah, I wouldn't have been able to deal with it. So.
Well, for what I heard about World of Warcraft is it was expensive. That's all I heard.
You have to keep buying expansions and different levels and all. Yeah.
Well, the fact is you gotta pay to play it, in addition to buying all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a monthly subscription.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, that's my thought.
No.
I want a game I don't have to pay a subscription fee to play.
I love to hear it.
There are 2 games that I play right now.
Oh, such a pretty kitty!
I play all the Dragon Age games. Dragon Age is my jam, and Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning.
Little kitty.
Those are the games I play repetitively. You'd think I would get bored, but I don't. Tired of games being crushed.
Baby.
Here, chew on your toy. Quit chewing on me.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty baby kitty.
I was gonna try it up here.
Orange.
It says.
So there are a couple other games that I've tried that I don't mind. The thing is that is for me is the fight engine. I have to have the right fight engine, or I have to have the right fight engine, or I don't enjoy the game. If I have to turn my character to get fight, and it doesn't do it automatically, I'm sorry. If I'm getting shot in the ass, I don't need someone to turn me around and go, "Hey, face that way," and fire back. You know what I mean? It's automatic, so my character should do it automatically too. So that's why I should be able to push a button and boom, shit starts happening. I'm lazy that way.
I don't think that's lazy.
So I have to have that kind of fight engine. That's why I could never get into the Elder Scrolls. My son did get me Elder Scrolls Oblivion for one of my birthdays. And I started playing it, and I started getting shot in the ass with an arrow, and I'm pressing the fight button, and it's not doing anything because you have to be right up on your opponent, in their bubble, in order to fight them. And I'm like, no. I don't know where the fucking enemy is. I should be able to hit the fight, and my character should go to where they are and beat their ass. So I couldn't get into the game. I couldn't do it. So he keeps trying to take it away from me so he can return it and get credit. And I'm like, that's mine. If it's getting returned, I'm getting the credit for it.
Right.
You gave that to me. It was a gift. It's mine. But I keep it because he gave it to me, and
it was a gift.
It was very sweet of him to do that,
And Indian giver, no, hello.
Yeah. So I still have it, and I put it up. Whenever I put my games up, when I'm able to put them up on a shelf somewhere, it goes right up there, and I look at it, and I think my son gave me that. So.
Phew, Caroline, you were busy today. You were.
That's why I have my fluorite bear that he gave me for Christmas that year. I have that sitting on my desk, on my table. So I look at it and I go, my son gave me that.
Yeah, it was one of those days when he cared.
Yeah, thanks for that. I was in a moment. Leave my memories alone. So I'm trying to remember. I played Dragon's Dogma. I played the first one, and then John had got me one that was supposed to be 1 and 2 on the same disc, but it would only let me play one. It would never pop up with the second one. So I had already played one. I wanted to play the second one. It wouldn't let me do it. So I was like, fuck this, and I threw the thing out. John was
Did
like,
I show you guys these?
Oi. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and there was another one that I played that I liked. John and I both liked it. We actually played it together, like switching controller back and forth, which we did a lot when we played video games. And it was Dragon something. And it was actually not the first one, it was the third. And I cannot remember what it was, but if I saw it again, I'd know, but I can't remember offhand. And there's so many that start with Dragon that, you
Can't
know.
imagine that.
Yeah. Or
Dragons are popular.
it either started with, it either had Dragon or Dungeon. It didn't have both, but it had one of the words in it. And I can't remember what it was. But it was very cool. Except for the spiders. There were way too many spiders. I would hinge on the controller. I was like, kill those little bastards. I don't know how I'm going to play Spyro now. It's just not going to be the same.
Oh, so he can get you past that one spot?
Oh, it's not just one spot. That little egg thief shows up all over the place, and he's annoying as fuck.
Oh.
I could never catch him. I used to hinge on the controller and go, get that little bastard. And he would get him within like 20 seconds. Boom. And then, like, the next level you go up, the little bastard's back again. I'd be like, John! And he'd be like, again? I'm like, little bastard? And all you hear is, and I'm like, kill that fucker.
No,
And
it's
now
a
I have
pretty
no-
baby kitty.
I have nobody to get my egg thief now.
Such a pretty baby kitty.
It's got a full fat belly.
She looks so soft and fluffy. I want to reach through and give her a pet.
She is. She's really soft.
I need a substitute egg thief hunter.
Can't help you.
I'm going to have to put an ad on Craigslist.
She's got a room.
Oh, all right. Well, here, you can sit there anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't have a PS4. My son does. And the new Spyro trilogy is for PS4. So until I get that Ghana game system, I can't play it anyway.
Your top off? No, didn't think so.
But and they need to come out with a new Dragon Age, man. I'm waiting impatiently. But they'll probably come out with a new Dragon Age, won't even have it for PS3 because, of course, that's an antiquated system now. But I can't afford a PS4. So
No, they'll come out with it for PS5 and you'll be screwed.
Yep. Well, that's like the new Dungeons and Dragons game they came out with is PC, PS5, and the Xbox One or whatever. Yeah. All systems I do not have. Because this laptop definitely would not be able to handle the new Dungeons and Dragons game, which I do want to play, but there ain't no way I'm going to be able to afford a PS5. Come on.
Yeah, considering the prices I've seen on those.
They'll be on PS25.
I don't even dream.
They'll be on PS25 before I can afford a 5, you know?
That's why I'm content with what I've got, not chase the latest system.
I would
Well,
not
the
have a
problem is-
PS4 that I own if it was not for a friend of mine and her husband.
Well, the problem is the games that I want to play are coming out on the new systems. They're not making them for PS3. So I can't play them, you know? So I just get stuck playing my old games and, you know, doing my thing. It's mostly just for stress relief anyway. Killing shit and hacking up bad guys is, you know, killing ogres and, well, different things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Blowing shit up with the appropriate level of overkill.
I don't blow shit up on my games. My games don't have blowing shit up. They have setting things on fire, and sometimes
That counts.
Sometimes things kind of, you know, but
That counts.
my games are all dungeon crawlers. I like RPGs.
Play Minecraft. Get the TNT out.
I don't like Minecraft.
Oh, thank God!
I put mine on peaceful because I don't like dealing with all the critters. and I take the TNT and I put it on creative, and I take the TNT and I start blowing up scenery.
My godson likes Minecraft, and I've heard way too much Minecraft mumbo jumbo that I'm good.
If I have the urge to blow something up, I'll go blow up some scenery on Minecraft.
Yeah, I've never had the urge to blow shit up. Although I do like my flaming chakrams in Kingdom of the Amalur. I had those chakrams up so powerful I would just unsheath them and things around me would die. I didn't have to release them. It was great. Fear of the chakrams killed things. I was like, yes. Well, because in Kingdoms of the Amalur, you can build up your equipment and you can build up your armor and all that. I mean, you can find really good pieces of armor. Of course, you have to be at certain levels in order to wear it, but you can build up your shit. And so that's what I always did. I always built up real fast before going into the harder parts of the levels, so that my armor was actually like 6 levels above the levels I was going into. My armor and my equipment. Because I don't like struggling that much. I like instant gratification, you know what I mean?
Yes. I played Ramble Story from Beta Edition. So I was a beta player all the way up until, probably up until, let's see, probably the last 7 years I haven't played. So I'd have to start all over from the very beginning and do brand new characters and learn it from the ground up. And it's online. It's 2D. It's real simple, basic. You build your character, etc. Kill the beasties. You can trade up and build up your armor, etc. But it's not, I mean, it's got pretty good graphics, but it's not graphics like you would see in, WoW or anything like that. It's not those kind of graphics. I like my little simple, easy to play games.
I haven't played a video game in about 3.5, 4 years.
This is what you play it on the computer. It's a PC game.
I don't play on my computer. I don't like playing games on my computer. Especially on a laptop. On a PC, I can deal with it because the keyboard is bigger and there's more space between keys, like deeper spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Gaming on my laptop with my nails the way they are,
yeah,
there's no way. I would keep fucking up. It would be so fucking frustrating.
That's why I bought an external keyboard.
I don't have room for an external keyboard.
Mine's setting across the laptop keyboard.
Yeah.
I had some of my keys that stopped responding properly.
If that would put my keyboard up way too high, I would not be able to deal with that at all. Mm-mm. So I don't have room for an external mouse. I don't have room for an external keyboard. I just don't have the money to get any of that shit. So, well, I already have an external mouse. I will be using that when I get my craft room set up.
My keyboard cost me $10. My mouse cost me $8.
I don't have that much money to spend on stuff that I can't eat.
Yeah.
So I just don't have it.
I got these in months where I was more flush than I am right now.
Oh my god, this silly ass snake. He is so much bigger than his hiding log that he's like in and out, and there's like this much of him outside of each end of it, you know. So it's so funny.
Tina, I love you, but your camera was off, and you're
There's like
saying
this much.
outside.
This much of him outside of each end of his log.
Okay, that's better. I'm like, how much? Because we can't
Yeah,
see
I was
you.
like, what the hell are you talking about?
I realized that when I said that. I'm like, oh yeah, the camera's off.
That's like waving at your camera when it's not on. Yeah, we all do it, but it's still silly.
Waving at the camera. Can you see me? No. Your camera's not on. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we all wave at the camera when it's not on. You know, everybody's leaving. See ya. Love ya. Bye.
Yep, it happens.
Or we nod.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. What are you resting yet, Carol Ann? Because, you know, it's...
Yeah, that list of hers is exhausting.
I know.
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm ready for bed now just looking at that.
That was me 2 days ago? 3 days ago?
So I learned something new today. It's always good to learn at least one new thing a day, I always say. Is that there is a filter on YouTube when you're doing a live that you can set it so that only people that are subscribed to your channel can actually comment in your chat.
Interesting.
I did not know that.
How are you going to get new subscribers, though, if they can't comment in the chat?
Well, they would have to subscribe.
I see.
They can lurk and see what your channel's about, and then they can subscribe. I didn't know that. I was watching Conky's auction, and he was saying that was a new thing they were doing, is that you had to subscribe in order to make comments, and that way it would filter out false bidders and trolls. Okay, people that subscribe to you can still be a troll, but I guess it would cut down drastically on them, you know, and people would have to be serious about your channel to bid on your stuff, I guess. But yeah, you know, it's not membership. You don't have to be a member in order to do that, because that would be rude. Although he was debating doing membership only bidding, which I don't agree with that at all. I didn't agree.
Yeah.
That's a Locker Nuts thing.
When Locker Nuts first did that, I stopped watching them because I didn't agree with having to pay monthly in order to spend money on their channel. It just didn't make sense to me.
I'm subscribed to them because I like seeing what they're selling, but I don't seriously watch their auctions or anything because of that.
No, I mean, they say that you get your monthly whatever back, you know, with your first auction bid, but they're still kind of being bribed to bid on the. I should have to pay to spend my money. Spending my money should be enough, you know. I don't know, whatever. I mean, it's their channel, their way, but I was a little disappointed, you know. And I understand why people do membership. There are channels that need the support. I mean, you know, they might be able to go on lives all the time like we do. You know, we do lives a lot, like spontaneously, like now. And I mean, if Tina was monetized and she wanted to do memberships, I would fully support that. I wouldn't be able to be a member because I'm piss-ass broke. But I understand the concept of it helping generate some money.
Yeah, if we were any broker when we had to pay attention and it cost too much.
Why these people that seem to have, you know, they're able to spend thousands of dollars on locker units are doing membership kind of throws me. But hey, any way to make a buck, I guess. Money makes money, right? So I don't know. I mean, I know Sandy does memberships. Robin does memberships. Who else does memberships? But they don't push it on you. Neither one of them pushes it on you.
And they don't make you be a member to bid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you to put a bell on that little fucker.
She's still too little for a bell.
No, she's not. No, she's not.
She's too tiny for a collar.
Willow is crafty. She could make her a freaking collar. Okay, don't give me that shit.
Collar, hell, make her a harness. If she's too small for a collar, make her a harness.
Yeah, it doesn't make for an honest bidder.
But no, there are other people who have memberships, and it's not necessarily for bidding, but I mean, there are other people that have memberships.
Yeah.
What did Paul call them? Never mind.
No, I'm intrigued. What did he call them?
The yentas?
Oh, yes.
I giggled so hard.
Locker Nuts already does that, Carol Ann. Locker Nuts has done that for the past 6-7 months, if not longer.
That year.
As soon as the whole membership thing came out.
Really? Donna and T might start making them have a membership to start bidding. Oh.
I mean, that's ridiculous. They already have people register before they can bid. So why would they need to have them do a membership?
You have to register in order to bid.
Not only that, but you would have to be a member on both of their channels because they alternate channels that they have auctions on.
Yeah. Talk about double dipping.
Yeah, that's... I don't know. I mean, I can understand having, memberships for people that need the money. And I mean, if the richer channels want to go for it, hey, that's on them. But I understand it more for channels that have just gotten their 1,000. If there's people that are struggling for money, they're, I can understand needing that extra, hey, tune in. I mean, I don't have that many subscribers. I have 186
I got 100
subscribers. Yeah, I got 186. I got that extra one today because Tina, Susanna popped on with Tina's phone and subbed Tina to me. So I got that extra sub today. Which I
have 102 at the moment.
I made Tina laugh today.
Oh yeah. I thought Susanna was going to hurt herself. She was laughing so hard today. I like being able to make people laugh like that, though. It's good for belly laughs. You definitely need a belly laugh, at least once a day, once every other day.
Oh yeah, I definitely. Yeah, Locker Nuts has been doing it for a long time. So see, they were getting trolled so hard that people were bidding up and making false bids and all that.
All they had to do is have people register to bid. Once you have someone's name and address, they're less likely to fuck with you. Less likely. I'm not going to say they don't, but they're less likely to mess with you because you could spread their shit all over the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a guy. I need his contact information from my auction with Sandy yesterday. I can't invoice him without his information.
Who is it? Put it in the private chat.
Yeah, put it in the private chat. A lot of moderators have people's information or can contact them for you.
Or can pass it around to the other mods, so they can get the message out.
I don't know nobody.
Yeah, I wondered.
I don't know nobody.
They weren't blue. And they weren't somebody I recognized.
Yeah, that was it spelled DEVIN or EN?
Yes, I am.
I've never heard of them, but
seems like somebody in there knew them.
Sandy knew who she was. She knew who he was.
Okay.
Oh, I know who that is. That's Ryan's boyfriend. So contact Sandy.
Yeah, contact Sandy.
Well, I put the request in the Facebook message that we had before we did the auction last night, and I haven't heard back. I figure Sandy's doing something with for the 4th of July or something.
Carolyn, here's the problem: is a lot of people don't want to block someone they think is going to be a buyer in the future. They hold out that hope that that person will actually pay eventually, so they continue to put themselves out there, and that's on the seller. However, they are out their time for putting that item up for auction and losing out the money that they thought they were getting. The seller does lose money and time on putting up any item. I mean, they spend 15, 20 minutes on an item, they're losing money. If it doesn't sell at all, that's considered an investment in their business. However, if they sell it and that person doesn't pay for it, that is them losing money. They have invested their time, energy, effort, their product. They'd have to hold that product for a while to see if the person does pay, give them a chance. It's a big mess and a lot of sellers will not outright block someone. Me personally, if someone doesn't pay for an item and they don't have a good goddamn reason, don't bid on any of my shit ever again. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're on video with cash in your fucking hand waving it at me. It's not going to happen. See you later. Bye.
Well, yeah, I need his information so I can invoice him, and I'll go from there.
Right.
You
No,
know?
I wasn't talking about your situation. I was talking about what Carol Ann said in the chat. And I agree, Carol Ann, don't treat everybody as if they're going to be a thief just because some people didn't pay. It's rude.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I can see giving an invoice 48 hours, and if they don't invoice, send them a reminder.
Well,
and if at the end of that time you ain't got nothing, they ain't gonna pay. Block them. They haven't contacted you. That's 4 days. It's more than enough time to make arrangements.
Well, I got something from Big Barn Auctions, and I wasn't expecting to get invoiced until the 1st of the month. Only they invoiced me right away, so it sat for 4 days before I had the money to pay it.
JJ and them invoice once a month. I thought they invoiced right after their auctions.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I wasn't expecting the invoice until because I told him when I got the item that I can't pay for this till the 1st of the month. He's like, oh, okay, well.
Did you email them and remind them?
Yeah, I mean they're so busy they can't remember everything.
Yeah,
but yeah,
he's not going to remember.
It's a misunderstanding. That's it's clearable. You can fix it.
I paid it. It just took me 4 days.
Yeah. And Carolyn, retail and the auction situation, two totally different beasts. Because when you work retail, you have a set number of hours that you're working. When you're working in the reselling business, you are pretty much working unless you're sleeping. You're working.
If you're awake, you're working.
Yeah. Because everything is oriented towards how am I going to produce? How am I going to present this? What am I going to say when I present it? When it sell, how much money do I want for it?
What did I pay for it? How much profit do I need? Yeah. So how much can I charge for it on eBay or Etsy or?
So I mean, yeah, that's why resellers can't give themselves an hourly wage because their items would cost way too much. Nobody would buy them.
What is my end game?
That's why some of the handmade artists charge so much for their work. Because they actually give themselves a little too much an hour. Because
I've got a couple listings on Etsy that are $1,500 a piece.
For what?
Afghans.
Yeah.
Blankets.
Okay.
I showed one to somebody one time, and he takes one look and says, "Holy $1,500, Batman." I'm like, "Well, how much money do you make in 2 months?" He's like, "Oh."
Yeah, but still, you have to be reasonable. I mean,
that is reasonable. It takes me 2 months to make it.
Still, that's outrageous for a blanket. You know what I mean? I mean, the Amish work hard on their quilts, but they don't charge. Well, some of them do, I guess.
If an Amish person charged what the quilt was worth.
Yeah.
I saw a king size.
How much do you give yourself an hour when you work like that?
About $1.
See, like I know some handmade artists because we work on this all the time in education. Is how much do you charge an hour for your work when you're making your jewelry? Now this is metalsmithing, mind you, like the stuff Sandy does, and metal stamping and all of that. And when you're first starting out, of course, it's going to take you longer to make your items. Once you get into the swing of things and you get things going down pat, it doesn't take you as long. Some of these people are charging $35 an hour. I'm like, what do you think? You work for fucking Tiffany's? I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, it's like making this. Okay, if I gave an hourly wage for making this, I'd have to charge $50 to get my money back. It retails for $3.
Well, I can't. This is why I have a problem with pricing my work. Is because I cannot charge that much an hour, and I feel so totally guilty about charging extraordinary amounts. Because I'm thinking, if I was working in the real world, I would expect I would hope with my skill levels and what I can do at this point, I would expect about $15, $18 an hour. But even charging that much an hour for my work seems too much for me because I consider my time to be an investment in my business. You know what I mean? So, because there are things that I know for a fact, I've seen them on Etsy and I'm like, oh, I can make that for $15. You know what I mean? And they're charging $150 for it. And I'm like,
the materials I used to make this, the only thing I used new was new. I used scrap canvas and like basically a dime for the yarn.
Yeah.
Retail for $3.
And it's a total another thing too. Sandy's been working at this for what, 40 years? Doing her about 40 years.
Sandy makes gorgeous pieces.
Yeah. Ow, dog. Hello. That was my butt.
I have no way to afford her stuff.
No, I can't either. But the thing is, Sandy has history. She has, so much experience in this. That's why she can charge what she does, especially where she's never been actually published. Because I asked her that once. I said, have you ever been published in a magazine? Had anybody do a feature on you? Because I was really curious about reading it. I really want, And she's like, no, I've never been published. And I was like, holy crap. And then I learned a little bit more about Sandy and realized why she can go for those prices.
I was thrilled when she invited me on that auction last night.
Aside from the fact that her stones are all grade A quality and you can trust in her products, her work is fantastic. And
she was apologizing. She said, I wish it had gone better. And I'm like, well, it's a different audience.
Being able to watch her make her pieces and then bid on the piece that you got watched made is amazing. And this is what my goal is to do. Although I do not have the years of experience, I'm hoping that I make things that people will want, but there's no way in hell I'm going to even charge. I wouldn't, I can't really give an estimate on what I would charge for a piece. It depends on the stone and how much goes into it. But on average, will probably be between 35 and 45 to start. You know what I mean? Just because of the items, the stones, the work that went into it, and the depending on whether or not it's silver or copper based.
I was thrilled when she invited me last night, and I actually sold stuff too.
But I watch people in my education group all the time, and they're like, oh well, I don't understand why this isn't selling, and they have a price tag on it for $150, $170, and they just started making jewelry. And I'm like, you have no history behind your name. You're not published. You're not even online to be a personality online that people can follow. I was like, and you just started making jewelry, so how are you getting your prices for this? Because you've got $10 worth of sterling in that. It's a sterling ring. It costs you $10 to make it. I know, because I have those rings. I bought them too. And you stamped a word into it and you're charging how much? What the hell? And they're like, well, I see other people do it. I'm like, no, you don't. They charge like $40 the most, $45, $50, depending on what size ring it is, what the metal is, and how many letters go into it. I'm like, so no, you don't see that. You're just trying to think you work for Tiffany's. This is my example all the time. You do not work for fucking Tiffany's. Stop it. It irks me. And they're going to get mad at me when I start charging less for the things they're overcharging for, because I can't rip people off. I can't. what your basis is supposed to be your products, your material costs times 2, and then however much you do your hourly, however much time you put into it, and then
I was told multiply everything, all your expenses. Add up your
multiply them by what?
3. Add everything up. Material cost, labor, overhead, and what profit you want. And then multiply it by 3.
It depends if you're going to mass produce. If you're going to mass produce, like say you make like 20 of those little jewelry boxes, right? And you're going to sell them somewhere else, like consignment, or someone wants to buy them to sell them in their shop or something. You would multiply by 2 to get your wholesale price. That's what you'd sell them for. If you were going to mass produce them and sell them like on auctions or on eBay or whatever, you'd multiply everything by 3. And that would be your retail price.
What I wholesale these for $1. I retail them for 3.
So yeah, because
they take me about 15 cents a piece to make.
Yeah, wholesale you always charge less so that they think they're getting a deal. They're actually paying twice for your materials and all that. So
I actually sold 20 of them to a lady who makes jewelry at the consignment store. I have some of these jewelry boxes at. See, I have a specific design just for that store.
I couldn't have anything like that in my house. My cats would absolutely wreck it because it's yarn.
Well, if I gave you something specifically for your cats to wreck.
No, I have 2 cats and they will wreck it. Trust me. You don't even know. You don't even know. I have cats. I have 4-legged demons in my house.
I had cats. My mittens was best cat we had. His name was Mittens. Sure, I didn't need plastic. Actually, I did need plastic cameras at that point in time.
We have one we call the Shredder. That would be the love bug that purrs really loud on camera all the time. She has started destroying all the cardboard boxes in my room. Have you seen my room? It's all cardboard boxes. So this is not good. This is not good. And then there's Marty. And she's such a bitch. Marty was John's cat, and when you died, I got his cat. So yeah. I mean, if you're in the niche, there are places here in town that they'd pay, $500, $600, $700 for a blanket if it was handmade, just because they're rich and can throw it on the back of the sofa and brag to everybody that it's handmade. Bragging rights. Rich people will spend money on the stupidest shit. It's amazing. And we are so grateful for those rich people. But your average person is going to say $1,500 for a knitted blanket and go, what the fuck?
And I'm going to look at him and say, like I did the last guy I sold one to. It took me 2.5 months to make his blanket because I messed up on part of it and had to redo it.
Yeah.
And when I do one of those, I eat, I sleep, and I knit, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it takes 2 months to do.
And what size was it?
It lays flat on a double bed.
Too small.
I can make them bigger.
Yeah, but they would cost more. But they would cost more. I like all my blankets king size. All of them.
King size blanket take me about 6 months to do.
It probably costs about $3,000. I'll pass, thanks. I could buy a car here for that. I only paid $2,000 for my Laredo.
If I had $3,000, I probably would buy a car. It'd take that much.
Okay, ladies and those that are hanging out in the rafter seats.
You started this.
It is now 20 till 12 my time. I am going to call it a night. I have.
Well, I've had fun.
I have my live tomorrow, 11:30 my time, 12:30 Eastern. So
Party time.
I will
That'd be what?
You're
9:30? I'm Pacific, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
9:30.
9:30. Climb in, Tina. You started this, and now you're just dropping us. Boom.
Oh, she wants to go to sleep. She looks tired.
2.5 hours, 2 hours, 40 minutes. We're good. There's only 4 people. There's 4 of us in the chat on the panel. And one of us has got really bad reverb.
Not me. I was muted.
I've been muting as well. I have played with my settings, and so it's not me.
Well, I was playing with my settings too, and it made it worse when I moved them.
I was muted when I was packing my cigarette.
Yeah.
Well,
correct, Carolyn.
I used to play that game on Super Nintendo or Nintendo, whatever. Echo the Dolphin. I loved that game.
Good night, Carolyn. Good night.
I used to watch Lorna playing Super Mario Brothers on her Nintendo 64. That was something to see. Had really good graphics.